close the doors of your mind, close the gates of your mind, close the gates of your palace, your ba'ith, your ahal, your hell, your tent, your mishkan, your mikdash, your how you call. The body that you dwell inside, the sentient self where you live, in the body that Yahuwah owns. For Yahuwah owns all souls. For today is a day of freedom. Today is a day of warning. Today is a day that Yahuwah has given to us at the end of the shabath, that we may cease from all our labors and all of the selfish self and our selfish ambitions and our selfish goals, that we may sit down and understand what it means to walk and to ride upon the high places, upon the wings of the wind, that he may feed us with our akla, or a call, that we may understand what it means to walk in the higher nature of oneself, and not in greed and not in selfishness, but in love, ahaba, and gentleness. For we acknowledge the one who made all of the har of the earth, all of the nahar, the rivers and streams of the earth, the one who made all of the ravens and doves and the eunuchs and doves and all throughout the world, the one who allows all man and woman to come into the knowledge of Yahushua Mashiach, Yahuwah Elohim. So as we move forward in the truth of Yahuwah Elohim and the understanding that he rules over all gods and all Elohims, even above the Rakia, we know that Yahuwah Elohim rules in the kingdom, the Malkuth of men, and he gives it to whomever he will. He gave it to his son Yahushua. He said, at the name of Yahushua, every knee shall bow, and every tongue, every language, Lashon, shall confess that Yahushua Mashiach is master, to the kabod of Yahuwah, who rules over all Elohims in every place, everywhere. So as we move in the 364-day cycle, we move forward in his love, right? So this is the book of Hebrews, Aydah, chapter 3. Hebrews chapter 3, Aydah chapter 3 and verse 1. Hebrews chapter 3, Aydah chapter 3, verse 1. It says, therefore, Chdsh, brothers and sisters, you who share in the heavenly calling, consider Yahushua the Shalakim and High Kahan of our confession. So Yahushua Mashiach, he said, consider Yahushua Mashiach the Shalakim, the sent one, and the High Kahan, the new High Kahan, according to our confession. Why? Because the old High Kahan even slew the son of Yahuwah. He killed the son of Yahuwah. They set him up and they had him destroyed. So here's the new elected High Kahan, Yahushua Mashiach, who has what? Who was faithful to him who appointed him. Why? Because we are faithful to him. Who appointed him? Yahuwah appointed him. So he was faithful to Yahuwah, who appointed him to be the actual commander of everybody. And guess what? And the High Kahan, the only priest you can follow to do this thing properly. And guess what? It says, just as Mashah also was faithful in Elohim's house. So Mashah was the same way. In similar nature, right? In similar behavior. For Yahushua has been counted worthy of more kabod than Mashah. So you see how Yahuwah is? He said, he's even more kabod than Mashah. Why? As much kabod as the builder of a house has more honor than the house itself. Because the builder of the house got more honor than the house itself. Why? Because you live in a house that's built by somebody, but then you don't understand that the house is not greater than the actual builder of it. And guess what? For Yahushua has been counted worthy of more kabod than Mashah, as much as the kabod as the builder of the house has more honor than the house itself. For every house is built by someone, but the builder of all things is Yahuwah. Now Mashah was faithful in all Elohim's house as a servant, a bar. So are you faithful in all Yahuwah's house as an Aydah, or in the current house you currently dwell inside? But if you're not, to testify to those things which were to be spoken later. Why? Because he was faithful in all his house when he was on earth, when he was alive, but not even knowing he was just a representation of what was going to be spoken about later, about Yahushua Mashiach. But Mashiach is faithful over Elohim's house as a son. He said he's just like a son. As we are in his house. And if indeed we hold fast to the confidence and our boasting in our what? In our hope, in our tikva. Because that's all a part of it. He said, why we start there? Let's go in the book of Genesis, Bereshit, Genesis chapter 49 in verse 1. Bereshit, Genesis chapter 49 in verse 1. Yaakov, Genesis chapter 49, verse 1. Then Yaakov called his sons and said, gather yourselves together that I may tell you what shall happen to you in the days to come. Assemble and listen. So he's talking to his biological family that he created, that he had children with Rachel and Leah, and Bilhah and Zilpah, right? Assemble yourselves. O sons of Yaakov, listen to Yasharal, your father. Why? Reuben, you are my firstborn, my might, and the first fruit of my strength. He said, you the first fruit of my strength. Why? Because when the actual discharge of a man goes out of him, all his strength leaves his body. And it goes inside of an Isha. He said, you the first of my strength. Why? That's all his strength that he put into him. And guess what? And the first fruit of my strength, preeminent in dignity and preeminent in power. He said, all that, I put all that inside of you when I created you. Unstable as water, because you got no control over your eyes and your lust. You shall not have preeminence. Why? Because you have no control over your lust and your eyes and your onion in your body. Because you went into your father's bed. He said, you went into my bed and you defiled it and went up to my couch. You went and laid in my bed and you laid with one of my Ishas that I had children by. So therefore, you lost your preeminence, right? But guess what? Simeon and Louis are brothers. Weapons of violence are their swords, right? Because Simeon and Louis, that's what he said, weapons of violence. Why? Let my soul come not in their counsel. O my kabod, O my glory, kabod. Be not joined to their company. Why? For there in their anger they kill men. He said they killed people. Why? In their anger. Now, had they had control of their anger, they wouldn't have killed nobody. But being that they didn't have control over their anger, they killed somebody. And in their willfulness, they hamstrung oxen, right? Cursed be their anger. So he said, cursed be their anger. Why? Because if you start to use your anger for a different purpose, then you become cursed. For in fierce and in their wrath, for it is cruel. He said, you're cruel. I will divide them in your cove and scatter them in Yasharal. He said, in their anger, they killed somebody. Right? He's describing his sons. Why? Because when you start to look at your behavior, that's how Yahuwah looks at you. He looks at you as a father and a son. And he looks at you as somebody in his household. And he says, you're just like this. I'm describing you and how evil you are. Notice that. Every last one of them had evil in their heart. Right, going to the book of Bereshit, chapter 4, Ephesians. Go to Ephesians chapter 4. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 25. Ephesus chapter 4 and 25. Ephesians 4 and 25. Therefore, having put away falsehood or shakir, let each one of you speak truth with his neighbor. Right? You got to speak the bar. For we are members one of another. He said, we are all members one of another. When that whole family that Yaakov gathered together, when they all members one of another, wasn't Reuben, Simeon, and Louis, right? They're all members one of another, right? They all a part of each other, but for some reason, everybody doing evil. They all were evil. They were. Be angry and do not sin. But they all were doing evil, though. They were members one of another, sons of Yaakov. Big old family that he told them to gather together, but for some reason, everybody doing evil inside of the family. Ra. Do not let the sun go down on your anger. He said, don't even let the sun go down. Now you see why the Bakar and Erev sacrifices are important. You ain't supposed to let the sun go down on your anger. You're off. It's not supposed to happen. But if you ain't walking like a Kahan, a priest, and if you don't care nothing about the Torah, you're going to find yourself killing a man or a woman. Because you know all the things, you know what say, you know all the freaks come out at night. Right now it says that people come out, they come out at night. And when you go to sleep, you're going to be tormented by spirits. But it says, and give no opportunity to Shaitan. Why? Because that's an opportunity for Shaitan to take over your body at night. That's all it is. It's an opportunity for him. Because all he's looking for is an opportunity. I haven't had any fun in a while, so I'm looking for an opportunity to take over you. So I'm going to do things to try to get the sun to go down on your anger so I can have a nice time with you. And guess what? Let a thief no longer steal, but rather let him labor, doing honest work with his own hands, so that he may have somewhat to share to anyone in need. Let no corrupt talk come out of your mouths. Why? Because he's telling you, also don't steal, please. Because you're going to give opportunity for Satan. Don't let the sun go down your anger. You're going to give an opportunity for Satan. Shaitan. Don't let no corrupt talk come out of your mouth. You know, things that you should not talk about. You know, slander, gossip, plot, schemes, fornication, adultery, all these things. You're going to give Satan opportunity in your heart and your mind. And guess what? Let no corrupt talk come out of your mouths, because it comes out of your gogoro, your throat, and then it comes out into reality. You know how to say manifest? But only such as good for building up. He said that's the only thing you should be coming out of your mouth. Building up. That's the bar, right? And as fits the occasion, because everything don't fit every occasion. Right? Everything don't fit every occasion. Right? When somebody has a new child, you don't need to be saying, you know what Yahusha said. He said, woe unto them who got children in those days. For they're going to be a time of tribulation. And you don't need to say that. You know what you should need to say? You need to say something else. Why? Because you're going to cause that person to faint in their mind and not care about their child anymore. And they probably ain't going to happen in your lifetime. Right? Or maybe not even in the first 25, 30 years. And the whole time you're going to be having your child, you're going to be thinking about, man, it's going to be a time of tribulation. Every day, time, you don't even know. But that's what people do. People just, it don't fit the occasion. Like, when Yahushua was born, the Malachi were rejoicing. They were ascending and descending, right? Everybody was rejoicing. Ain't no time for you to do that. But that's what people do, though. I've seen it. I've seen people do this stuff. It's not, that's what people do. Let no corrupt talk come out of your mouths, but only such as good to building up and fits the occasion, that it may give con to those who hear. Why? Because you need to understand. The best thing to say is, until us a child is born, until a son is given, and the government is going to be upon his shoulders. He shall be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty Elohim, the Prince of Shalom. From the increase of his government, there should be no end upon the throne of Dawid. You know, there's a son that was born and going to sit on the throne of Yahuwah, upon the throne of Dawid, from the Yehuda. Hey, how about that? And do not grieve the Kudash Ruach of Elohim, because what do you think? What do you think this is all about? What do you think these 40 days about? The Kudash Ruach, by whom you were sealed to the day of redemption. You don't want to grieve the Kudash Ruach with some crazy stuff that you say out of your mouth. And then you're going to find yourself in some serious situations. Verse 31, let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and slander be put away from you, along with all malice. Why? You're going to get placed with Shaitan. Satan. You're going to get placed with Shaitan. As soon as you do it, he's right there next to you. I know you think you can't see him, but he's right invisible. He's right inside of you. You're going to open up the gates of Sheol inside of you. The gates of Sheol are going to prevail over you. And you're going to open up the gates as soon as you do that. You're going to be calling to the other people who got, as soon as you say out of your mouth, your malice, guess what? All the other people who got the gates of Sheol open inside of them, they're going to be signaling themselves to you. Right? Because everybody ain't got the gates of Sheol closed inside of them. If some is prevailed. Be kind one to another. He said, be kind, be kasi. Tender-hearted. That means be very sensitive to what you say and what you do and how you act and your attitude. Because people can pick up on it. The body is a neurotransmitter, literally. It has hairs, it has sensory neurons, it has livers, it has kidneys, it has lungs, ribs, it has femur bones, toe bone, big toes, big thumbs, big ears, little ears. And everything has a purpose. And if you ain't sensitive to what you say and what you do, you're going to find yourself in a serious situation. Tender-hearted, forgiving one another. He said you got to forgive every part of their body. You got to forgive every part of yourself. Even after you've done so many things in your life, you got to forgive every part of yourself that you use those things to do things that are evil in the world. You got to forgive every part of yourself. It ain't just, no, you got to forgive every part of yourself. You got to forgive your tongue, your nose, your body, your private parts, your hands, your feet, what you did with them. You got to forgive every part of your body. You got to forgive it all. And guess what? Forgiving one another as Elohim, Mashiach, forgave you. He forgave your whole body. He forgave you. So you should do the same thing, right? So this is Genesis chapter 49 and verse, going back there, we're almost out of here. 49 and 8. Genesis 49 and 8. It says, Yehuda, your brothers shall praise you. He said, your brothers, your Akim, your family shall praise you. Your hand, your yard shall be on the neck of your enemies. He said, your yard, your hand shall be on the neck of your enemies. So you could think it'll be your hand? Yard. Who yard you supposed to be looking out for? Yahuwah's yard. That's how we talk about in Shemu's Exodus when he talk about his yamin. Right? He called the floods to come, the flood waters to come with his yard and his mean. Right? He said, why? Because it brought life to you. But it says right here, your hand shall be on the neck of your enemies. Your father's son shall bow down before you, my Elohim, my Elohim, my master. I think Thomas, when he came to Thomas, he opened and said, hey, look at my hands. Behold my hands in my side. It desire. And guess what? Yehuda is a lion's cub. He's like a little son. From the prey, my son, you have gone up. He stooped down, he crouched as a Ari, and as a lioness, who dares rouse him? The scepter shall not depart from Yehuda, nor a ruler's staff from between his feet. Right, between his feet. What's between his feet? The Malkuth. And it says right here, from between his feet. Where is that? Yeah. He stooped down and crossed like a lion, like a lioness. Who dare rouse him up? The scepter shall not depart from Yehuda, nor a ruler's staff from between his feet, until tribute comes to him. And to him shall be the obedience of the peoples. He said, unto Yehuda. So you think Yehuda going to change that? No. You think he's going to change it? No. He said, unto him shall be the obedience of his peoples, right? Right, so this is the 30th Yom of the second month, Shani Kudash, or the month of flowers, month of Zu, or Ziv, as they say. This is the last day of the second month, moving towards the longest day, the 364-day cycle, according to the four portals, moving towards the longest day. And as we move forward to that, you understand the understanding of it. This is a month of flowers, staying on the actual understanding trend of it. So it's 44 days since the 16th day of Areb, the 17th day on the first Qahalath. It's 44 days since the Feast of Unleavened Bread when Yahusha rose on the third day of Qahalath. That's today. 44 days ago. He said, so how you doing from 40 days ago? 44 days ago. What has happened in those 44 days that did not or may not have been in alignment or in character, right? It takes time. People say, yeah, 44 days ago when Yahushua rose, he said, I believe he is risen, right? But then at the same time, you see the understanding of it. It's 43 days since Yahushua appeared in the house with his disciples and revealed himself on the 4th day of Qahalath, was the 18th day of the first month. 43 days since. Now it's 35 days since Bakur waving the sheaf, waving the omer on the 49-day count. 49 days since the waving the sheaf on the omer on the 49-day count toward the 50th day. There are 14 days left. There are 14 days left in the 49-day count, going toward the 50th day. There's 14 days left. There are 5 days left until 40 days since that day of waving the sheaf. There are literally 5 days left. You know, Yahushua was here for how many days? This is the book of Acts chapter 1 through 5. In the first book, O Theophilus, I have dealt with all that Yahushua began to do and teach. So he had to do it and teach it now. He ain't just, I do it. I say it. I have a whole bunch of understanding in words, like Shaul. Like Shaul said, if I understand all mysteries, right? They're going to 1 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 1. 1 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 1. 1 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 1. If I speak in the languages of Lashon of men and of Malachim, but have not Ahab, I am a noisy gong and a clanging cymbal. So you have all the knowledge and wisdom and understanding. You can make it look all beautiful and nice. And matter of fact, you can woo people and make them feel like you are the most intelligent person in the world. And it will make you feel real great. But if you don't have no ahaba for nobody, you have no care for nobody. If you slandering and lying and gossiping, and he say for reputation's sake, because you don't want nobody to shame you in front of people. If you're doing all these things, he said you ain't got no love in your heart. So what's the point? You in Ishah, you got all this knowledge and wisdom and understanding, but you hate everybody. You hate your sister, your brother. You hate them people, right? He said, what good is all that? I'm like Deborah, but you hate everybody. You jealous and envious. You full of strife. You lazy. You don't want to do anything. He said, okay. Deborah had to do stuff, but everything happens for a reason. If I speak in tongues, Lashon, and you bilingual, what do you say? I say trilingual. Some people are trilingual. Right? They can do a whole bunch of things with languages. If I speak in tongues of men and Malachim, but have not Ahaba, I'm a noisy gong and a clanging cymbal. You ever seen a marching band? Can you hear anything when they smack them cymbals? But you don't hear no words. What words you hear? Nothing. Only thing you hear is them. And if some people dance to it. That's all they do. They dance to it. Some people just close their ears, but at the same time, some people be moving to it, right? It depends on the person, right? Nobody listen to no words. They dancing, right? And listen, nothing you say. They like the people when they had to build the golden calf. Man, you ain't got no harbor for your horse, so therefore they just banging, beating stuff, and dancing naked, right? That's what they do. Nobody thinking about you. If you ain't got no harbor, and if I have prophetic powers, I mean, you can see everything in the future. Like I can see it. It's happening right now. All novel. I had a dream the other day, and I saw visions of everything that's red, right? And guess what? Everything was black. And I saw a white horse and a speckled horse, right? You can say all that you want. Have the visions of Malachim, right? Prophetic powers that understand all mysteries. You can go through all the books. From the book of Hanuk all the way to the apocalypse of Yaakov. Man, you can go all the way through, from Kazum, Revelations, all the way back to Bereshit. Understand it through all the Torah, and even the tabernacle itself. But it says, and if I have all prophetic powers and all mysteries and all knowledge, all binah, hakmadah, and if I have all Amunah, right? You talk about Amunah, like Caleb, and Yahusha, Joshua, the son of Ben-Nun, right? All Amunah as to remove mountains, but I can speak one thing. He said, you say to this mountain, be thou removed, it's going to happen. If you have Amunah, mustard seed, but have not a haba, I am nothing. So please don't be thinking you something. But people still going to believe they're somebody. He said, I am nothing, which means that you ain't nothing but dust and made from the Adam, they're going back to the dust. If I give all that I have, so you can get all your money, I can have a whole bunch of money. You can have currency, millions and quintillion billion, and you give all your money and deliver up my body to be burned. And even if I sacrifice myself, even when the wolves come, and 9 wolves come, and I put myself in the way and let all of them come and swallow me up and let other people get away. And if you ain't had no love in your heart before you did that, you ain't had no ahaba in your heart before you did that, you know what happens? You did it for nothing. You know how this show? I'm going to do this one thing for you. I know I've been a terrible person. Right? No, it don't work like that. It don't work like that. Your works go to the grave with you. So you have to show a pattern of good works before that happens. It's not, I was a terrible person up until this point. I'm going to sacrifice myself for you. No. You got to have good works leading up to that point. Then your works will follow you. Your good deeds and your love and your ahaba will follow you. And guess what? You can do it. But if you don't, you might well run and start running with the other people. When the wolves come and the bears and the lions and stuff come and the leopards, you better start running. You know you ain't good. You know you ain't doing right, so you might well start running with the women and the children. Everybody need to run. Get in the house. You need to hurry up, right? And that's the truth, right? And people say, yeah, that is the truth, though. If I give all that I have and deliver up my body to be burned, but have not a ahaba, I have gained nothing. You ain't give nothing. Ahaba is patient and kind. So these are all behavioral aspects of yourself that you have to crucify and put these on. It's patient, right? I mean, you gotta be real patient, or you ain't gonna have no ahaba in your heart. Kind, you gotta be conceived. Love does not envy or boast. It don't envy nobody. Jealousy, it doesn't even exist. It doesn't even boast about how great they are. It is not arrogant. That's what people do. Overbearing arrogance about who they are. Or rude. I mean, you don't have no corrupt communication come out of your mouth. You're courteous to all people. It does not insist on its own way. He said, I'm not just going to just do what I want to do. It is not irritable or resentful. It don't get real irritated real quick. Or resentful. It doesn't resent nobody when they do somebody do you wrong. Even though you try to get rid of it, he said they still keep doing wrong. It may linger for a while, but he said you ain't gonna be resentful though. But guess what? It does not rejoice at wrongdoing. He said I'm not gonna rejoice and be jumping around, doing all types of backflips and doing all these things and everything that people do, leaping for joy. Right when people singing and praising Yahuwah, I'm not gonna be singing and leaping for joy for nothing. If you're in wrongdoing, what you doing that for? That makes no sense whatsoever. Because that don't show no repentance. That just shows that you just an arrogant person who think you barak yourself in your heart. Because you walking in your own imagination in your own heart. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things, right? In NASA, it carries everything. You know how it says NASA the ark? It bears everything. Believes all things. So ain't no Amuna that's, yeah, I don't believe that like that. No, he believes all things. And guess what? Hopes all things. Endures all things. Ahaba never ends. It don't. It's everlasting. It never ends, right? Going back to Acts chapter 1. And 1. In the first book of the I had dealt with all that Yahushua began to do and teach until the day he was taken up, after he had given command through the Qahalath Ruach to the Shalakim whom he had chosen. He presented himself alive to them after his suffering by many proofs, appearing to them 40 days, right? That's why there's 5 days left in these 40 days. It's 5 days left in the 40 days that he if he was here right now, that's where you would be at right now. And while staying with them, he ordered them not to depart from Jerusalem. He said, don't leave, but to wait for the promise of the Father, the Abba, which he said, you heard from me. For Yehukanan immersed with Ma'im. He said, Yehukanan immersed with me, with water. But you will be immersed with the Chdsh Ruach not many days from now. Why? Because that's the whole point. That's the whole point of this whole Ruach journey, right? Right, so this is the book of Acts. He says, why? Because that's the whole point of it. This is the book of Acts. Chapter 5 and verse 30. Acts chapter 5, verse 30. Acts, what they call Acts of the Shalakim, chapter 30, 5 and 30. The Elohim, our fathers, raised Yahusha, whom you killed by hanging him on a tree, right? You hang him right on the branch. They hung him on the tree. He was a noose, Leach noose. Remember Leach noose? The standard. And guess what? The Elohim, our fathers, raised Yahusha. That's how Mashar was. He was Leach noose. His countenance was not abated. The Elohim, our fathers, raised Yahusha, whom you killed by hanging him on a tree. Curses every man who hangs in the tree. That goes to the book of Devarim, right? Elohim exalted him at his right hand, his Yah, as a leader and savior. Consider Yahusha our high Kahan and priest, right? Consider Yahusha, Mashiach, and savior, to give repentance to Yasharal and forgiveness of sin. To who? To give repentance to the 12 tribes of Yasharal. You know, the 12 sons, the evil sons. You just read the 2 first sons. They were evil. They were evil, doing evil. He was giving repentance to all of them, because Yehuda even married somebody from another tribe. He got drunk and he ended up doing something he shouldn't do. But the Elohim, he said, to give repentance to Yasharal and forgiveness of sins, because all that immersing to who should have put him on. Why? When you join yourself to Yasharal, like the actual Goim tribes that joined themselves to Shaul, who was a tribe of Benjamin, their inheritance went to Benjamin, of the tribes of Yasharal, according to the 12 gates in New Jerusalem. But that's just another, people don't understand that. But at the same time, that's what he did. According to Romans chapter 11, he said he was in the tribe of Benjamin. You understand what tribe he from, because each gate had a tribe to it. And each gate, each people had to come into that tribe, tribal understanding. We always was a tribal people. Nobody was walking around here with none of these things you see today. It was a tribe, a matah. It was a tribe. What you see? To give repentance to Yasharal and forgiveness of sins. And we are witnesses to these things. He said, we witnesses. And so is the Chdsh Ruach, whom Elohim has given to those who what? Who obey him. He don't give that Ruach. I'm not giving no Ruach to nobody who don't obey me. Why would he do that? That's like why would Yahuwah give the Ruach to an Isha that don't obey? That makes no sense whatsoever. Unless one receives another Ruach and you didn't let that person be accursed. You let that person deceive you. That woman deceive you. Verse 33, when they heard this, they were enraged and wanted to kill him. See, that's what's going to happen. He's talking about, you going to tell me, you got to tell you got to obey, you got to tell a woman, you got to obey. He said, yeah. He said, you know what he just said? He just said, you ain't got the Ruach because you ain't obeyed Yahuwah yet. And you know what they wanted to do? And when they heard this, they were enraged and wanted to kill them. The same thing they wanted to do to who? Caleb and who? Yahusha. Why? Because they wanted to go back to Mizraim. Because it's murder. They wanted to murder them. That's what that means. They wanted to murder them just for saying that. He said, man, I ain't got the Ruach. And guess what? But the Pharisees in the council named Gamaliel, a teacher of the Torah, held in honor by all people. Man, everybody held him in honor. Right, you got some Gamaliels today. You know how I say? You got some Gamaliels today. A teacher of the law held in honor by all people stood up and gave orders to put the men outside for a little while, right? And guess what? And he said to them, men of Yasharal, take care what you are about to do with these men. He said, y'all know y'all about to kill these men, right? Y'all real quick with murder, ain't you? You quick with it now. Y'all ain't even thinking about what y'all doing. You're not even using your makatsubar, your yetzer, your imagination. You ain't even thinking about everything you getting ready to do. For before these days, Thaddeus rose up claiming to be somebody. Everybody do. And a number of men, about 400, joined him, right? So it don't matter how many people you got. 400 men. That's a lot. That's a big army right there. Think about it. A big army like that. Think about it. You have 400 men. Oh, it's going to be like, man, you must be true. You must be of the truth. Guess what? 400 men joined him, and he was killed, and all who followed him were dispersed and came to nothing. See, this is the whole point. It dissipated. You know what it says? What he did, he rose up, everybody was with him, and then he got killed, and everybody died, and the whole movement died off, and it was nobody else doing it anymore. It was like it was nothing. It was no remnant of it. And guess what? After him, Judas of Galilean rose up in the days of the census and drew away some of the people after him. He said everybody did. You know, in the census, we just went through Numbers chapter 9. We still had a functioning Malkuth kingdom. We still had a functioning type of government back in the day. But we didn't get, remember, we had financing, government, we had a census, right? We had a whole thing we had. But guess what? They lost it. Because Yahushua already knobbed on to destroy it, right? And drew away some of the people after him. He too perished, right? He died too. And all who followed him were scattered. So, in the present case, I tell you, keep away from these men and let them alone. For if this plan or this undertaking is of man, it will fail. That's the whole point. None of these people say that. He said it's going to fail. But if it is of Elohim Yahuwah, you will not be able to overthrow them. You might even be found opposing Yahuwah. He said you might even be found. You don't know what happens when you oppose Yahuwah. You get in his way. And you don't want to get in Yahuwah's way. Especially when he started anointing people and telling them to do stuff, and you get in the way. You're going to find yourself move. Right? You're going to die. Why do you think he told them people, here go your dead bodies? Y'all in the way. Because these are all apart. Because Yahuwah, it's good pleasure to give you the Malkuth, but if you get in the way, you're in a point. He got Malachi that can fire his arrows at you. You might even be found opposing Yahuwah. So they took his advice. So you got to take his advice. Because everybody ain't going to take his advice. Right, going back to Acts 1 and 3. He presented himself alive after his suffering by many proofs, appearing to them 40 days and speaking about the Malkuth of Yahuwah. And while staying with them, he ordered them not to depart from Jerusalem, but to wait for the promise of the Father, Abba, which he said, you heard from me. For you cannot immerse with Ma'im, but you will be immersed with the Kudash Ruach not many days from now. Right? So it's the month of flowers. So we look at olive flowers. Right, it's a month of flowers. The olive tree, you look at the buds of olive branches, olive trees, right? It's a month of flowers, right? You look at the actual flowers that appear when they first start to bud on the olive tree, right? It's a month of flowers because you need these things in your life, right? He said, why do you need olives? Because it's important. But it's a month of flowers. It's a month of Zu. Month of Zu, right? So this is the book of Exodus, Shemuth, chapter 23, 10 through 13. For 6 years you shall sow your land and gather it in its yield. Why? But the 7th year you shall let it rest and lie fallow, that the poor of your people may eat. Why? Why do you think Yahushua says this stuff? He said, you got to do what? But in the 7th year you shall let it rest. He said, so why you say all of these things? Why do you think today, what today is? Day of rest. And then what was Yahushua, we went through this, what was Yahushua doing in the field on the day of rest? That the poor of your people may eat. He's like, man, what you get mad at me for? I'm out here eating. I'm the poor. And what they leave, the beasts of the field may eat. He said, what? So that means not just for you. Sow in your land. 7th year you shall let it rest. That's the day of rest. And the poor shall eat, and the beast. Where you see that at? Bereshit chapter 1, Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, 27, 28. That's the same thing. You shall do likewise your vineyards and your olive orchard. The same thing. Your vineyard and your olive orchard, your zayis, right? Your olive orchard, your zayis. When you're talking about a television, you know, they put zenith, right? Right? They had that back in the day. Zayis, right? Your olive orchard. Yeah, that's people olive branch right now, right? The television, the zayis, right? They get all their olive oil from there, right? Get their lamps filled with the ruach, right? Right? That's what they do. 6 days you shall do your work. So 6 days you got to do this, right? But the seventh you shall rest. What do you think today is? That your ox and your donkey may have rest. Your animals be looking at you like, man, what you doing? You think them animals gonna be wanting to rest? No, they be laying on the ground too. They be looking at you like. So you don't believe the commandments that Yahuwah did in the beginning, right? So you want to put me out here on the seventh day again, then you want to took me on a Monday, what they call a Monday, or the first day. You want to put me right back out here. Thou shalt not muzzle the ox that tread out the corn. We talked about this. So what, you finna muzzle me right now again on the seventh day? You ain't gonna give me no food? You finna make me fast today. I know how it is. That's how it is. I'm a donkey and a sheep for like it's a car, but I gotta go out there and do stuff today. I know how it is. I know you don't care about the animals or human beings. Right? And that's how Yahuwah looks at you. And the son of your servant woman and the stranger may be refreshed. Everybody needs to. If you don't let nobody rest, I assure you, people gonna be hot with you. They're gonna be mad with. They're gonna sue you. You know how it says you're gonna have a lot of lawsuits. Your ox may gore you that day, the next day. You know how it says when the ox gore a man, right? So keep it in. That ox gonna gore you on the first day. You gonna have him on the seventh day. You gonna transgress you who is the bar. And then on the first day, he gonna gore you right in your stomach. He gonna gore somebody because he upset. You can make the animals like that. And people say, what? This is why he gave Adam Radah over the fish of the sea, fowl every creeping thing, over all the earth, and over the behemoth, right? These are all part of it. Pay attention to all that I have said to you. See, this is the one thing that people are not going to do. He said, pay attention. He said, I ain't got no field, I ain't got no ox, I ain't got no olive. He said, you understand what he just said. You understand that you ain't got no land, but you got a land on the inside. You know you have to rest. The day of rest is the seventh day. And you know that the poor people need to eat some food on the seventh day. Do you give them any food? The poor people on the seventh day any food? Because they need food. Right. Do you give other people food? No. No, you don't. Pay attention to what I have said to you and make no mention of the names of other gods, right? Because that's the whole point. When you start worshiping other gods, you're going to be working on the seventh day, the Shabbat. You ain't going to be doing nothing, he said. And you're going to have all the creation upset at you. This is Romans chapter 8 and verse 1. 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 There is therefore no condemnation to those who are in Yahushua Mashiach. For the law of the Ruach of life has set you free in Mashiach Yahushua from the law of sin and death. For Elohim has done what the law weakened through the flesh could not do. He said he couldn't even do that. All right, skipping over to verse 26. 8:26. 8:26. Likewise, the Ruach helps us in our weaknesses. And they see why you need it. He gives it to those who obey him. For we do not know what to pray as we ought. But the Ruach himself intercedes for us in groaning too deep for words. And he who searches hearts knows what is the mind of the Ruach, because the Ruach intercedes for the Kodashim according to the will of Elohim. And we know that for those who love Elohim, all things work together for the good of those who are called according to his purpose. So we just reading in Exodus chapter 23 about things you're supposed to do. Everything that he just said is a good thing to do. But if you don't do it, you worshiping other Elohims and other gods. And you, matter of fact, the fruit of your lips is other gods. That's what happens. You start to look like another Elohim. And then you start to walk like another Elohim, and then the animals look at you like, who are you talking about? I thought you said you believed in Yahuwah. I thought you said you believed in the creator of all things. And then people want to know why things are happening, right? Going back to Romans chapter 8, actually, yeah, Romans chapter 8. Romans chapter, going back to Romans, Romans chapter 8, verse 28, 23. Actually, Romans chapter 8, verse 22. Romans 8, 22. For we know that the whole creation has been groaning together in pains of childbirth until now. So what they waiting for? You to start doing this again? You know how it talks about birth pains? But it says in childbirth until now. And not only the creation, but we ourselves who have the first fruit of the grown inwardly as we wait eagerly for the adoption of sons, the redemption of our bodies. For in this hope we were saved. Now hope that is seen is not hope. For who hopes for what he sees? Right? You can't hope for that. They're going back to Exodus 23:12. 23 and 13. Pay attention to all that I have said to you, and make no mention of the names of other Elohims, nor let them be heard from your lips. Why do you think Yahushua said, my Elohim, why hast thou forsaken me? You notice he ain't calling no other God when he was on totality. He could have asked for other people to rescue him from off the totality, but he was crying to Yahuwah himself. Why? Because he was waiting. He was like, man, I need to rest. Matter of fact, everything that they doing to me, I need to get off this cross, right? And just like Yukonah 18, Matthew 27, he said it is finished. And he got off the cross and he rested. 6 hours he was sowing. He was up there for 6 hours, from the third to the sixth, first to the ninth hour, and then about the ninth hour, about the time it was over with, he gave us the ruach. It was over with. This book of Exodus, Shemuth 27:20. You shall command the people of Yasharal that they bring to you pure beaten olive oil for the light, that a lamp, that for the light that a lamp. Right? Why? Because they're near. You got to bring pure beaten olive oil for the light, that a lamp. Right? That is a lamp. Right? That is a lamp. Right? May regularly be set to burn. Right? That a lamp may regularly be set to burn. Right? So that's what you need. That you're near. Because it's a month of flowers. Right? You need the olives to be budding right now. Why? In the tent of meeting, outside the veil that is before the testimony, Aharon and his sons shall tend it from evening till morning. Before Yahuwah. Why? That's what you got to do with your own lamp. And you got to tend to it evening and morning. Because if you don't know about the Areb and Bakar sacrifices, you're going to have your lamp go out. It shall be a statute forever to be observed throughout their generations by the people of Yasharal. He said, you got to do this. Because this is the month of flowers. And guess what? It has to be a beaten olive oil. That's why they beat Yahushua over the head with a reed. Why didn't they beat him over the head? Because they were making beaten olive oil because he was an olive tree. Because you're supposed to do the same thing, shall do likewise for your olive tree, but they didn't give that olive tree no rest. They were beating it over the head. Matter of fact, they won't even let it. Matter of fact, he didn't get his rest until he went into the grave in the tomb. Right? He didn't even go to sleep that night when they came and got him. He had to stay up all night, all day. They didn't even get an olive tree no rest. And they beat him. They made a beaten olive oil. And they beat him over the head with a reed. And they struck him and said, Naba, you Mashiach, who hit me? He had all prophetic powers too. But guess what? He had more Ahab than did. He had more love. No man, no greater love than this, and a man laid down his life for his friend, because he had good works all the way till he died. Verse 21. In the tent of meeting outside the veil, that is the testimony, Aharon and his sons shall tend it from evening till morning before Yahuwah. It shall be a statute forever to be observed throughout their generations by the people of Yasharal. By who? We just read in the book of Acts, he gives the Ruach, them obey you. He came to redeem Yasharal. Why? Because he's trying to bring them back to this practice with pure hearts and pure with love, because they ain't have no love. They left all these things. They left desire. They left all that. How they supposed to keep things and animals and the creatures of the earth and the behemoth, the remes and the ga'ah. They left all these things. They don't even have. They had the olive oil, right? All these things. They lamps went out. All these were a part of it, right? This is the book of Bereshit, Genesis 8:6-19. At the end of 40 days. It says, at the end of 40 days, Nuach opened the window of the ark that he had made and sent forth a rab, or a raven, a raven. It went to and fro until the waters were dried up from the earth. He said, man, he sent out a raven, a rab, and it went to and fro on the earth until the waters were dried up. Then he sent a yuna, a dove, from him, to see if the waters had subsided from the face of the ground. So he did all that. Then he sent a dove. So he sent a raven, a rab, and he sent a dove. There's a reason why it's important. And guess what? To see if the waters had subsided from the face of the ground. But the dove found no place to set her foot. He ain't found no rest. And she returned to him to the ark, for the waters were still on the face of the whole earth. He said all the waters were still on the face of the whole earth. So he put out his yard, his right hand, his yard, and took her and brought her into the ark with him, because she ain't have no place to rest. So he literally took that Aydah, and that dove, and with his yard, and brought her into the ark with him. And guess what? And he waited another 7 days. And then he waited another 7 days. What does it sound like? What does it sound like? It sounds like the second Pesach. They did the Pesach on the second month, on the 15th day, 14th day in between the suns, and then the 15th day. For 7 days they kept Chag Matzah. And then for another 7 days, they kept Chag Matzah. Then he waited another 7 days, and again he sent forth the dove out the ark. Then he sent a unit out of the ark again, 2 times. And the dove came back to him in the evening, and behold, in her mouth was a freshly plucked olive leaf. He's like, man, it's a month of flowers. It's the month of flowers. He's like, what's going on here? Man, it's the month of flowers, right? So this is the book of, it's the month of flowers, right? This is Shir HaShirim, Song of Solomon. He said, man, it's the month of flowers, man. What you talking about? He said, how you know that? Because you read it. It's the month of flowers, right? Is this the book of Song of Solomon? Shir Song of Solomon chapter 5 and verse 10. Song of Solomon chapter 5 and verse 10. Shir Shirim 5 and 10. My beloved is radiant and ruddy. Man, he just like Adam. He ruddy. Distinguished among 10,000, man, 10,000. But you tell me you gonna recognize him at 10,000. Matter of fact, when he come in there, you gonna see him. His head is the finest gold. His locks are wavy, man. He said his locks are wavy, man. They got sound vibration of freedom. It's like wavy locks. Black as a raven, man. He said he's black like a raven. Black like an Aydah. His eyes are like doves, man. He just like doves too. Man, man, you know this is like this the month of flowers. beside streams of water, bathed in milk, sitting beside a full pool. He said, man, look at this person. His cheeks are like beds of spices. Now you see why you gotta let the land rest. He said, why he tell us to make the land rest? For 6 days, 6 years you sowed, in the 7th year you let it rest and let the poor and all the animals eat too. Well, you ain't gonna be able to understand this. You ain't gonna be able to understand this. Sitting beside the pool, his cheeks are like beds of spices. How many beds of spices you got? Mounds of sweet-smelling herbs. He said, man, mounds of sweet-smelling herbs. His lips are lilies. He said he looked just like the lily tulips. Because it's a month of flowers. And guess what? Dripping liquid myrrh. Right? His arms are rods of gold, set with jewels. His body is like polished ivory, bedwrecked with sapphires. His legs are alabaster columns. See, man, he said his legs like alabaster columns. Why then they put that woman poured that oil on his head? That oil dripped all the way down to his legs. It dripped all the way down to his legs. He said, man, his hair black like a raven. Man, he got all these herbs and spices on his head. That's what they poured on his head. And the woman came to Yahusha in Matthew chapter 26. And she took that basket of oil and spices and poured it on his head. And it went all the way to his legs. He was sweet herbs, sweet smelling herbs, but she poured on top of him. His lips like a lily. What do you think Yahusha looked like? People say, what did Yahusha look like? I say, man, you have no idea. He said, he says, his arms are rods of gold set with jewels. His body is polished ivory, bedchecked with sapphires. His legs are alabaster columns set on the bases of gold. His appearance is like Lebanon, choice as the cedars. His mouth is most sweet, and altogether desirable. This is my beloved, and this is my what? My friend. You are my friends. You do whatsoever I command you. That's my friend. O daughters of Jerusalem, that's my friend. That's my best friend. And he said, who your friend is? That's my friend. You know, Yahushua Mashiach. That's my friend. He said, who your friend? He said, there's a friend that stays closer than a brother. I'll show you your brothers will betray you when you start talking like this. Going back to Bereshit chapter 8 in verse 9. But the dove found no place to set her foot. We just read in the Song of Solomon, it did. Shir HaShirim. He said his eyes, he's like dove's eyes. Matter of fact, his hair black like a raven. He did find a place, right? And she returned to him in the ark, for the waters were still on the face of the whole earth. Why do you think when Yahushua was on totality, all the people were below him? And guess what? He left the earth. He said the waters were still on the face of the earth. Them people were still there. But he said, but she returned to the ark. Man, he said he gave her the ruach. He gave her the ruach. And he went and they put him in the grave 3 days and 3 nights. And guess what? So he put out his yard and took her and brought her into the ark with him. And he waited another 7 days. And he sent again forth the dove out of the ark. And guess what? And the dove came back to him in the evening, right? So that's why you need to understand that morning evening sacrifice is very important. See, he said, dove came back in the evening time. And behold, in her mouth was a freshly plucked olive leaf. That's what we needed for what? That your lamps may continually burn. Matter of fact, you need to let that olive orchard rest too. Why do you think Yahuwah had to go a whole year for this to even get to this point? He was letting the land rest. He did. He had to let the whole land rest. So Noah knew that the waters had subsided from the earth. He said, then he knew. He's like, man, the waters have subsided now. It's the month of flowers. The thing's starting to bud. Then he waited for what? Then he waited another 7 days. And he said, man, I'm going to wait another 7. Amazing how you talk about, even with the woman in the menstrual cycle, he says, if you see it continue, then you wait another 7 days. And if you see it continue again, you wait another 7 days. Ain't that something? And you see the same pattern with the same thing. Let's keep the Chag Matzah another 7 days. Matter of fact, it's still stuff here. Sin is still here. Let's keep Chag Matzah another 7 days. See? And you see all these things, right? All these things take place. And he set forth a dove, and she did not return to him anymore. He said, and then after another 7 days, how many days? 21 days, the dove didn't return. He said the dove didn't return. Right, this is the book of Yuchanan. He said the dove didn't return. This is the book of Yuchanan, chapter 1, and verse 29. The book of Yuchanan, chapter 1, verse 29. The next day he saw Yahusha coming toward him, and he said, behold, the Lamb of Elohim who takes away the sin of the world. He said, maybe, look at that, the sin. This is he whom I said, after me comes a man who is ranked before me, because he was before me. He's like, one knew out before him too. But guess what? He says, he was before me. I myself did not know him. He said, I didn't even know him. But for this purpose, I came immersing with water. Why? Because I had to be on the timeline to make sure I'm in the timeline with Yahushua Mashiach. So when he comes, I make sure I'm doing what I need to do. So when he comes, it'll be just like he said, like a dove right by the pool of water in Song of Solomon, right? That he might be revealed to Yasharal. To who? To who? To Yasharal. And Yehukanan bore witness. What? He said we are the witnesses. You know what we just read? I saw the Ruach descending from Shamayim like a dove. He said, then he waited another 7 days, and he sent forth the Yuna, and it did not return to him anymore. Why? Because the Ruach done left. And then found a place of rest. And it remained on him. It stayed on him. If the sole of its foot found a place to rest, to set. And he who immerses with the Kudash Ruach, it says, and he said to me, he on whom you see the Ruach descend and remain, and it stay, and they found rest with you. After 7 days, notice after 7 days these things happen. What do you think happens after 7 days? Did you get the Ruach since you believe? What do you think happens after 7 days? Did you get the Ruach since you believe? What happens after 7 days? Did you get the Ruach since you believe? Because it's supposed to rest on you. After 7 days. It should. So why you ain't got it? Because you ain't obeying him. That's the whole point. And remain, this is he whom immersed with the Kudash Ruach. He said, it's staying on you. And I have seen and I have borne witness that it is the son of Elohim. That's how you get this, that's how you become the son of Elohim. That's how you become. Another 7 days. He said, how you going? Another 7 days. That's how you get it. You gotta keep doing it. And that's how it remains on you. And that's how it works. It works like that. Right? So that word for raven is Aydah. Aydah. Right? Aydah. Right? It means raven. It means dusky hue. Right? Raven. Right? You look at it, the color of a raven. He said, why is this important? Because it's important. But when he sent it out of the ark, he opened the window, he sent Aydah out of the ark. And you gotta see it. He said his hair black like a raven, man. His alabaster columns. That woman poured that oil on his head. Them sweet smelling spices, they went all the way down to his columns of his legs. And it all was oil right on his body. He said, man, he could spot him out of 10,000. Ain't nowhere in the world. You can't miss him. Just like that woman touched him. He had a discharge. You can't miss him. You can't. Right? You can't miss him. Dusty raven, right? That word for set is manuak. Manuak. Right? It says, but the dove found no place to set her foot or rest her foot, or manuak. That means resting place. That's what we talked about. And he waited another 7 days, right? Because he was coming back every single time because he found a place of rest. With Nuak. That's the whole point. The two shall become one. Have you seen the dove? Because you know how he called the dove her. the feminine nature, because it's gentle, like a woman. Landing on top of him, two shall become one. It's the feminine nature. Resting place, it means what? Repose, condition of rest, coming to rest. That's what it is. It's the feminine nature. Quiet. Manuak, settled spot, a home. The dove found a home, the Ruach found a home with Yahushua Mashiach. That's what the feminine nature is. They're looking for a place of rest, a home. In the body of Yahushua Mashiach. All of the immersion Yahushua put him on. We are all members one of another. She found a resting home in Yahushua Mashiach. A home. That's what the Ruach is like. The Ruach is like the feminine nature finding a home. And then you say, why is this important? Right? So this is the book of 1 Peter. People have no idea. Right? This is the book of 1 Peter. I don't even want to, this is too much. I don't want to go that far. 1 Peter, Aleph Kav, chapter 3, verse 4. Aleph Kav 3 and 4. Aleph Kav 3 and 4. But let your adorning be the hidden person of the heart. That's the whole point. You know how people focus on it, so focus on the outward. He's like, focus the hidden person. It's a hidden being. The hidden being of the heart with an imperishable beauty. It don't even dissipate. That beautiful nature on the inside, it ain't going nowhere. The other person on the outside, you got to maintain it. If you don't, you're going to die. It's real simple. You know how people say, it's not that hard. You know, but people don't want to maintain it. I don't think you, after 40, I don't think you need to be eating that or eating that or eating that. Or you need to eat herbs and plants. Every now and then eat something else, but don't eat that. You don't need to eat as much as you used to do. Right? It's a different type understanding when you start your old. You're like, I can't eat that, I can't eat that, I can't eat that, I can't do that. If I want to stay youthful like the youth, right? But it says, hidden person of the heart with an imperishable beauty, with gentle and quiet ruach. Why do you think that? He said she found but the dove found no place to set her foot, a place of quiet rest. It's a quiet ruach, which in Elohim is a sight, a very precious. Why would Yahushua want a ruach coming inside of him that ain't quiet, ain't looking for a place to rest that's quiet? Why would Yahushua want that inside of him? Man, this thing is loud and stubborn. I don't want this thing inside of me. Two shall become one. No, Yahuwah, take this ruach from me. Get this ruach up out of here. Right? That's how Yahuwah wants. That's how Yahushua is. He like, this the ruach you're talking about? No, this ain't the ruach. This a whole nother thing spirit, right? It's a whole nother spirit. For this is how the Qahalath women who hoped in Elohim all hope, right? Used to adorn themselves by submitting to their own husbands, as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him master. What do you think that dove was doing? Calling him master. What do you think? Master, I found a home. And then what? The dove was going back to Eunice's house, to Nuach's house, and she found a home there. Who hoped in Elohim, adorn themselves by submitting to their own husband, that Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him master, Adam. And you are her children if you do good and do not fear with anything that is frightening. Right? Likewise, husbands, live with your wives in an understanding way. Just like that dove. You see how the dove, that gentle dove, looking for a quiet place and a quiet home in the conditions of rest. He said that's how you dwell with your wife according to knowledge. Oh, you mean you ain't had this knowledge? The same thing when Yahushua was looking for a quiet, that ruach came upon him. Why do you think he was quiet when they came and they questioned him and accused him of things? Because the dove found rest. Because the dove found rest, he was quiet and he ain't say nothing. It was quiet inside of him when the chief priests, the elders, and the Kahan were what? Accusing him of stuff. Likewise, husbands, live with your wives in an understanding way, showing honor to the woman as the weaker vessel. It's not. What do you think a dove is? That thing is like nothing. It's so small, you hold it. You don't want to squeeze it too hard, you might break something. That's literally what it is. You know how fast would the dove leave you? You go. You think about a dove. You go like this and go. Squeeze it as hard as you can. Squeeze the dove in your hand as hard as you can. What that dove gonna do? It's gonna leave. Now you see why it tells us to submit to all gentleness, all courtesy, and all love, right? Didn't he tell us to do that? Because if you don't, man, the Ruach gonna leave you. Why do you think Shaul said, I'm just a clanging cymbal? You go ahead and bash some cymbals next to the dove, a Ruach. Right? Next to the dove. What's he gonna do? He's gonna leave you. Weaker vessel, and you, since they are heirs with you of the Khan of life, so that your prayers may not be hindered. Because your prayers gonna be hindered. We talked about that already. Your prayers gonna be hindered. You understand when your prayers get hindered, you already know what's gonna happen to you, right? Quiet home, right? So that word for ark is tabah, right? It says no place, but the dove found no place to set her foot and return to him in the ark. That word for ark is tebah. Tebah, it means ark. A place that Noah built. A basket vessel. A box, an ark. Tebah, right? So you look at all that, right? So why is it important, right? So these are birds. These are a crow and a raven. You got a crow and a raven. They look similar. They look like brother and sister, right? But at the same time, crows and ravens have a different type of pattern. Right? Because crows and ravens may look like each other, and you wouldn't be able to tell if you ain't get real close to it, and you didn't understand the patterns of behavior. You got to understand behavior versus animals have behavior, same way humans have behavior. Humans have behavior that same way Yahusha had a behavior around people. Because he had a behavior around people, sometimes he would do things in a certain way, and then he'll do things in another way. But he had a different behavior when he operated. A lot of people don't know this, but that's the whole point, right? So this is a raven, right? This is a crow. Different birds, right? But same behavior, different behavior, but same class, can fly, but they just different. Same thing with demons. Right? Different types, right? You gotta understand the types, right? So the raven has a large wedge-shaped tail, where the crow has a shorter tail, right? That is only slightly rounded. Crows often travel in groups, right? So you'll see crows when they have about 10 on. Come, and they travel in groups. That's when Yahushua was traveling with his disciples. How many people he had with him? 12. But then guess what? Even large groups of ravens travel solo. Well, it says crows often travel in groups, even large groups. Ravens travel solo. Or in pairs almost exclusively. So a raven may travel solo. The same thing when Yahushua went to the mountain to go pray by himself. So you can see him, and he said, man, just like a raven. I mean, he was like a raven at one point. Then he like a crow, but then now he like a raven. But then you see why I say these things. Crows travel in large, noisy flocks called murders, right? They call them what? They travel in large, noisy flocks called murders. Say what? Why do you think when Gamaliel, he said, leave these men alone? What them people want to do? What them men want to do? They want to murder them people. He wanted to murder. If this thing be of Yahuwah, it's going to come to nothing. Don't murder these people. Noisy flocks, right? That's what it is. During breeding seasons in spring and summer, right? That's what we know. They break into smaller family units, travel in pairs in fall and winter. Thousands of crows often congregate at communal night roosts. That's what they do. You'll see them. You'll see a whole bunch of crows. If you stop somewhere, you see a whole bunch of crows just around. I assure you, it's something getting ready to be murdered, something getting ready to be killed, or something that's dead. But these are all a part of what? An understanding. Because everything has a purpose and everything has a reason. Right? So this is the book of Matthew, chapter 27, and verse 24. Actually, Matthew, chapter 27 and 45. Matthew 27, 45. Now from the 6th hour there was darkness over the land until the 9th hour. So that means it was before it was darkness, it was light. But guess what? It was darkness into the ninth hour. And about the ninth hour, Yahusha cried out with a loud voice, Aliyah, Aliyah, lama sabachthani, as it is, my Elohim, why hast thou forsaken me? How many birds did Yunus send out? Did Nuach send out? 2. He sent a raven, then he sent a eunuch. And then guess what? And some of the bystanders hearing it said, this man is calling for Aliyah. And one of them at once ran and took a sponge and filled it with sour wine and put it on a reed and gave it him to drink. And the other said, wait, let's see whether Yahweh will come and save him. And Yahusha cried out with a loud voice and yielded up his ruach. But what do you see here? Verse 47. And some of the bystanders hearing it said, this man is calling for Yahweh. Let's skip it over. Going back to verse 40, 27:40. And saying, going to verse 36. Then they sat down and kept watch over him there. You know what ravens do? Or crows do? You know what crows do? They be watching you. Guess what they do? And over his head they put a charge against him, which read, this is Yahusha, the Malach of the Yahudim. Then the 2 robbers who were crucified him, one on the right hand and one on the left. He said all these crows started saying a bunch of stuff. Noisy murders. That's what they call it, murders. Wagging their heads and saying, you who destroyed the temple and rebuilt it in 3 days, save yourself. That's what crows do. If you are the son of Elohim, come down from the cross. That's what crows do. So also, right, so that's what crows, these are crows. Noisy flocks called murders. And the chief priests and the scribes and the elders mocked him, saying, he saved others, he cannot save himself. He is the Malach of the Yasharal. Let him come down from the cross and we will believe in him. You ever seen a scarecrow? Amazing you have scarecrows and you see birds all around. And guess what they do? Making noise. Right? And he saved others, he can't save it. He said he is the king of Yasharal. Let him come down from the cross. And we believe in him. He trusts in Elohim. Let Elohim deliver him now, if he desires him. For he said, I am the son of Elohim. Right? So everybody was making a bunch of noise. But that's the whole point, right? So that word for dove. But the dove, going to verse 9, but the dove, that word for dove is Yonah. It means dove, pigeon. That's what it means. Yonah. They say pigeon or dove because it has similar characteristics, right? It has similar characteristics, right? So that word for, so look at it, the dove, right? You call it Yonah, right? He's a collared dove, right? We read in Shrin HaSharina, he had dove's eyes, right? You got black eyes, right? You got black eyes, right? This is a collared dove, right? This is the Adam Wa dove, right? Adam Wa dove, right here. This is a red-eyed dove, right? This is the morning. It says the morning dove, right? All these are a part of the dove family. They have red eyes and they have black eyes, right? Right. That's why we read in the Shir HaSharim, he said he had dove's eyes. You got red eyes and you have black eyes, right? That's why you have blood moons. Right, you got blood moons, and then you have black moons, right? That's what you call what? What they call dark moons. That's why you have darkness from the 6th to the 9th hour. But these are all a part of it. They call this the Aydah dove. He says, so why is this important? Why is it important? This Bereshit 8:13 through 19. In the 601st year, in the first month, in the first day of the month, the waters were dried up. Say what? From off the earth. You know, like the first day of the year? Or you mean counting towards the Pesach? It's dried up. And guess what? From off the earth. And Nuach removed the covering of the ark and looked, behold, the face of the ground was dry. Man, it was all dry. And guess what it says? It was still dry though. So he had to wait a whole month. It was all dry. In the second month, that's what month we in the 27th day of the month, the earth had, let's say, sorry, yeah. Bereshit 8:13. In the 601st year, in the first month, the first day of the month, the waters were dried from off the earth. And Noah removed the covering of the ark and looked, and behold, the face of the ground was dry. In the second month, on the 27th day of the month, the earth had dried out. Then Yahuwah said to Noah, so we're on the 30th day. So think about it, hypothetically. 27th day of the second month, Yahuwah says something to you, right? It's the 30th day. It's 3 days ago. But then guess what? Then Yahuwah said to Noah, go out from the ark, you and your wife, and your sons' wives with you. Bring out with you every living thing that is with you of all flesh, birds and animals and creeping things that creep on the earth. Right? You talking about even insectoids. And he said, I'm going to have an ark with spiders? And other little creeping things? That's crazy. Because that's what he gave to Adam. He gave him authority over these things, which means that he could speak their language. He could speak the language of the Ramees, the Gah. He could speak the language of the Behemoth, the Tahanim. He could speak their language. How do you think Yahuwah called the whale to swallow up Yuna? Because he could speak their language, their Lashon. And guess what? And they may swarm the earth and be fruitful and multiply on the earth. Because Yahuwah want birds, animals, and creeping things on the earth. So please don't be trying to kill them. Why do you think Yahuwah wanted that for? Because they have a job. And if they don't be fruitful and multiply on the earth, you're going to die. Right? They have to do certain things. Birds and animals have purposes. You need to leave them alone. So Noah went out, and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives with him. Every beast, every creeping thing, and every bird, everything that moves on the earth went out by families from the ark. They all left. Imagine that. All the animals and the insectoids, the ants, they all left by their families, right? They have families. Yeah, you know they have families, right? Right? Everything, even the insectoids, the things you don't like, they got families too. And they all left the ark. In the second month, on the 27th day of the month, the earth had dried out. He says, so why is this important? Because everything has a for a reason. Why? Because everything happens for a reason, right? This is the book of Matthew. Let's see. This book of Luke. Luke or Yah 23 and 19. Luke or Yah 23, 28. Luke or Yah 23, 26. And as they led him away, they seized one Simon Cyrene, who was coming in from the country. And he laid on him the cross and to carry Yahusha to Nazareth. And there followed him a great multitude of people and of women who were mourning and lamenting for him. And guess what? All these things happened. It were women too, male and female, right there. They were all mourning for him and lamenting for him. But turning to them, Yahusha said, daughters of Jerusalem, you know that when they be said in Song of Solomon? This is my friend, O daughter of Jerusalem. You know, this person y'all anointed, the woman anointed that had alabaster collar, he said, this is my friend. This is my friend right here. Let me tell you what he said. Daughters of Jerusalem, do not weep for me. This is my friend, O daughters of Jerusalem. But weep for yourselves and for your children. Why? He said, why you gotta weep for yourselves and your children? For behold, the days are coming when they will say, Barak are the barren and the wombs that never bore and the breast that never nursed. You know why? You're going to end up saying something. He said, man, that never nursed. Why? They will begin to say to the mountains, fall on us. Why? Because they're going to be saying, man, please hide us. They're going to please hide us from the face of him that sits on the throne. Fall on us into the hills, cover us, please cover us. For if they do these things when the wood is green, so everything they did to him when everything green, he's like, you see all the water, rain and snow, and it's nice and vegetation and animals and everything like that. Look what they're doing to me. Everything growing is fruitful and they got all the food they want and everything. Look what they're doing to me though. They have everything. He says, if they do these things to me when it's green, what do you think? What will happen when it is dry? What do you think they're going to do when it's dry? And amazingly, when did Noah get out the boat? And what was the ground? It was dry. It was dry in the first month. Matter of fact, in the second month, on the 27th day of the month, it was dry. It was dried out. Everything was dry. It was dry. And amazing, when they got out the boat, he said all the animals came off. And he said, you, your sons, and your wives with you. And there were women right there. And he said, women, daughter of Jerusalem, don't weep for me. Weep for your children. What do you think? Why do you think he said? Because if it's dry, there ain't gonna be nothing to eat. No vegetation, no nothing. And you see what they're doing to me? Now you see why he telling them animals, he says, go be fruitful and multiply on the earth. You get work. Because you see how dry it is out here? This place need to get green again, right? You need to put some manure on the ground. You need to eat something and throw something on the ground, right? The rain need to come, the insectoids need to pollen, and flowers, right? Y'all need to get to work. Y'all need to multiply. What do you think gonna happen if it stay dry? You dead. Verse 32, 2 other criminals who were criminals were led away to be put to death with him. They were led away too. And guess what? And when they came to the place that is called the skull, they crucified him and the criminals, one on the right and one on the left. Why? Because you know when you get to a place of skulls, a bunch of skulls on the ground and dead bodies and all types of stuff, it's real dry. It's real dry there. Because that's the only way you're going to get skulls. They got to dry out. It was a place of dead bodies. And guess what? He said, I was there. But that's all a part of it. Right? This is the book of Exodus, Shemuth, chapter 19, 1 through 15. On the third, Exodus chapter 19, 1 through 15. On the third new moon, right? So they say it's new moon, but it's new month. But it say new moon, but let me read it like it says. After this ESV, after the people of Yasharal had gone out of the land of Mizraim, it's the third month, right? We're on the last day of the second month, going into the first day of the third month. On the day that they came into the wilderness of Sinai, they set out from Rephidim and came to the wilderness of Sinai, and they encamped in the wilderness of Midbar. Then Yasharal encamped before the mountain, while Mashah went up to Yahuwah. And Yahuwah called to him out of the mountain, saying, thus you shall say to the house of Yaakov, tell the people of Yasharal, you yourselves have seen what I have did to Mizraim, and I bore you on eagles, or Nitsar, wings, and brought you to myself. Now therefore, if you will indeed obey my voice, and keep my covenant, you shall be my treasured possessions of all peoples. For the earth is mine, and you shall be to me a Malkuth of Kohanim, a Kudash nation. These are the words that you shall speak to the people of Yasharal, right? So that's one version. So this is Exodus 19, the Aramaic Targums, 1 through 6, Targums, Pseudo-Jonathan. In the third month, right, that's what we're going into, when the sun goes down. At the time, the children of Yasharal went out, redeemed from the land of Mizraim. They were what? You were redeemed from Mizraim on that very day. That very day of the third month. That's the first day of the third month. That very day. They entered the wilderness of Sinai on the first day of the third month. And they departed, they went to Midbar. What do you mean? They went to the wilderness. They went to the desert. That's what Midbar means. It means desert. It was a dry place. The same thing when you saw Noah get off the ark on the 27th day of the second month. It was dry. It was dry when they got out the ark, and the animals came out with them. And he said, "Go and be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth." And Noah and his sons got out with their wives, and they all got out the ark. And it says, and Yasharal faced there towards the mountain. And Moshe went up to seek instruction before Yahuwah. And the bearer of Yahuwah, or the voice of Yahuwah, called to him from the mountain, saying, "Thus shall you say to those of the house of Yaakov, and you shall relate to the tribes of the children of Yasharal. You have seen all that I have done to Mizraim, and all that I have borne you on the clouds of Kabod of my Shekinah upon the wings of swift eagles, and brought you nigh to the instructions of the law." He said, "I brought you right to the instructions of the law. And now, if you hearken to my voice of my Memra, and observe my Berith covenant, ye shall be to my name a beloved people, a special possession of all nations, because all the earth is mine. And you shall be to my name kings, Malak and Kahan in the Qahalath nation." This is the first day of the third month, right? He says, why is this important? Because this is important. Right? This is important. Right, so this is the book of, this is important. This is Yirmiyahu, book of Yirmiyahu, chapter 4, Jeremiah chapter 4 and verse 11. Yirmiyahu chapter 4 and verse 11. Yirmiyahu chapter 4 verse 11. "And at that time it will be said to the people and to Jerusalem, a hot wind from the bare heights in the desert toward the daughter of my people, not to winnow or cleanse. A wind too full of this comes for me." Why do you think Yahushua said, and they do these things in the green, what do you think they're going to do when it's dry, O daughter of Jerusalem? But then you see right here, they're in the wilderness and it's dry, midbar. He said, "Man, I brought you out here to be a special treasure to me." Why? "A wind too full of this comes for me. Now it is I who speak in judgment upon them. Behold, he comes like clouds." Who? I told you clouds mean judgment. That's what he says. "I borne you on the clouds of Kabod of the Shekinah on the wings of the eagles. Behold, he comes with like clouds, his chariots like the whirlwind." So like this hurricane, like what they call a tornado. That's like his finger. "His horses are swifter than eagles." Swift, you just read, Shekinah upon the wings of the swift eagles. "His horses like swift eagles. Woe to us, for we are ruined." What? You have no idea how powerful Yahuwah is. "O Jerusalem, wash your heart from evil." See, this is the whole point. Why do you think all these things, what do you think these 40 days are for? As rain and snow come down from Shammai, he says, "Wash your heart from evil, that you may be saved." That's how you're going to be saved. Wash your heart, your leg, from evil, that you may be saved. "How long shall your wicked thoughts? How long shall your wicked thoughts? How long shall your wicked thoughts lodge within you?" Thought inventory. That's the whole point. It's lodged. It took him a place of residence. It's rested inside of you. It ain't the Ruach. You know how it says all the Ruach came down from Shamayim? A quiet place to rest, right? If you have no quiet place to rest, you have to be quiet on the inside in order for the Ruach to rest inside of you. Which means if it ain't, you got wicked thoughts. And they lodge inside of you because somebody put it there. And now the Ruach can't rest inside of you. He said, I'm looking for a quiet place to rest. And once it rests inside of you, you gotta keep it quiet, nice, and peaceful. For a voice declares from dawn and proclaims trouble to Mount Ephraim, warn the nations that he is coming. Yahusha coming. Yahusha is coming. Announce Jerusalem, the besiegers come from the distant land, they shout against the city of Yehuda. He said they shouting, they're noisy people, a flock of crows. Like keepers of the field are they against her all around. He said, man, you all around. You just like keepers in the field all around. Because she has rebelled against me, declares Yahuwah. Because that's what happens. He said, everybody around now. He said, you don't rebel against Yahuwah. But guess what? Your ways and your deeds have brought this upon you. That's the whole point. This is your doom. And it is bitter. Let all bitterness and corrupt talk be put away from you. Or you're going to be bringing other things around you, and you're going to be like, where are y'all coming? Why y'all bothering me? And you'll be understanding. You're not understanding what you're doing. It has reached your very heart. That's why. Because it's inside of your heart. It ain't quiet on the inside. So being that it ain't quiet on the inside, it has reached your heart. That's how you know something has reached people's heart. When you say slander, gossip, lying, swindle, and extortion, and you start doing things to people, and it gets inside of them, they not quiet on the inside. It's reached their very heart. They like a noisy flock of crows now. They ain't gonna stop. Noisy flock of crows now on the inside. And you know what happens after that? It reached their very heart. What has been done to them. That's the whole point. Verse 19, my anguish, I wreathe in pain. Because you know why Yahusha said, my Elohim, thou why hast thou forsaken me? Because it reached his very heart. It hurt him. It reached his heart. Their ways and their deeds, it got to him. It got to his heart. The city of Yehuda, the whole city of Jerusalem, it got to his heart. It touched him. It hurt him. So then it was bitter. That's why he gave him a sour wine, and they made him drink it. Because it reached his heart. And that's what happens to you. All the mercy in Yehuda put it on. When you start getting noisy, because when people do things wrong to you in life, it's going to touch your heart. And you're going to be bitter. But it's only because you had rebellious deeds in your life. And it made you bitter. But he said, my anguish, I wreathe in pain, oh, the walls of my heart. See? That's the whole point. Think about your whole life from birth to present, and everything that's been done to you wrong. It's the walls of your heart. It's on the walls of your heart. It's like somebody invading. You know how Yehuda cried out in the shout in the book of Yasher, and you put a dent in the ground, and he laid on the wall, and he gave a loud shriek. Ah! And guess what? Everybody scattered off the wall, but that's you. That's that thing that touched your heart. And that's the thing that's on your heart. It's sitting right there on the wall. And it's loud on the inside of you, and the Ruach can't come in. They ain't got no rest. He said, I can't rest in here. It's loud. You know how you're going in that house, be boom, doom, ah, screaming and yelling, right? He said, I can't rest inside of here because you know why? I can't even find rest. I've been flying all day. Dove been flying all day. And next thing you know, he'd be like, doom, like, man, I can't rest around here. It's absolutely insane. You ever go to a quiet neighborhood and then you know somebody just pull up, you be like, man, what? Here goes the neighborhood. That's what they be saying. You know what they be saying about you? You be like, man, look at here. There is a neighborhood. I thought this place was a quiet place. I'm moving. I'm getting out of here. You staying? No, I'm moving tomorrow. Stay for sale sign today. Right? That's how it is, man. I know. Because they don't want nothing to reach their heart. Because they know if they stay around, it's going to reach their heart. And they ain't going to have no peace on the inside anymore. And they ain't going to have that no more. So that's why they want to get out of there. It has nothing to do with the fact that they hate you. It's just the fact that you're going to bring no peace. You ain't got no shalom. I don't want you around. And this is the reason why Shaul says, though I, or we, or any other Malachi teach any other thing other than what I taught you, let them be accursed. Why? You need to get away from it. Oh, on the walls of my heart is beating wildly. I cannot keep silent. For I hear the sound of a trumpet and the alarm for war. Oh, man. And you know, you don't feel like going to war, you be like, man. All your whole body has an alarm system, and that whole alarm system is going off. Defense. Crash follows hard on crash. That's what do you think you're ready to happen? People say, what's getting ready to happen? War and a crash. It don't touch their heart. No, it's going to reach your heart so bad. After the crash and the war, it's going to touch your heart. Ooh, you better make sure. Because you know why? Because he's trying to get the ruach to leave you. And he may put in another type of ruach inside of you. That's why I say you crucify with Yahusha. When you're in silence, that's when you crucify with Yahusha. When you keep the silence and the peace on the inside and the ruach stay inside of you. But when you get all erratic and it touches your heart. Crash follows on crash and the whole land is away. Suddenly my tents are laid waste, my curtains in a moment. How long must I see the standard and hear the sound of the trumpet? For my people are foolish, they know me not. What do you think these 40 days are for? They are stupid children. They have no understanding. They are wise in doing evil. You always trying to, he said, why are you trying to touch me in my heart with evil? You trying to make me bitter. You trying to reach my heart, aren't you? And that's the whole point. Because when he reach your heart with that evil, you ain't going to be quiet. They're going to be on the inside and you ain't going to have no peace. And the ruach ain't going to blow inside of you. But how to do good, they know not. I looked on the earth and behold, it was without form and void. But Bohu told, and the heavens, the Shama'ims, they had no light. And I looked on the mountains and behold, they were quaking. And the hills moved to and fro, earthquake. And I looked and behold, there was no man. And what happened? And all the birds of the air had fled. Now you see why the Ruach ain't got the Ruach. Why you ain't got the Ruach? Because you're not a peaceful person. You ain't gentle. You ain't all courteous and all love and all hava. So you grab it. Right? You too rough. So therefore, all the birds in the air have fled. That's why Isha leave. That's why birds leave. That's why people leave you. It has nothing to do with anything else. That's why children run away from their parents. This is not, so you gotta understand nature. Why do you think he talks about he grew up into like a tender plant? A tender plant, you ever grew a seedling? You gotta be real gentle with that seedling. Because if you don't, they're gonna leave. I don't care who you are. You be gentle with a bird. You go ahead and grab a bird and you be rough with it. That bird ain't never coming back. Ever. And all the birds of the air had fled. And I looked and behold, the fruitful land was a desert. I told you, Yahusha said, if they do this thing when it's green, what you think they gonna do when it's dry? What you think these people gonna do? In Midbar. And all the cities were laid in ruins. He said, what do you think you're gonna do when it's dry when I destroy this place? Behold, before Yahuwah, before his fierce anger. For thus says Yahuwah, the whole land shall be a desolation, yet I will not make a full end. For the earth shall mourn, and the Shama'ims above be dark. For I have spoken, and I have purposed, and I have not relented, nor will I turn back. People say, this is not a game. And people say, you want to play with him, right? So this is the book of Shemuth, Exodus chapter 19, 1 through 15. So Mashah came and called the elders of the people and set before them all these words that Yahuwah commanded him. And all the people answered together and said, all that Yahuwah has spoken, we will do. They said, man, whatever he say. And Mashah reported the words of the people to Yahuwah. He said, that's what they said. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, behold, I am coming to you in a thick cloud, that the people may hear when I speak with you, and may also believe you forever. He said, one greater than Moshe is here. He held in way more honor than Moshe now. So what do you think? What do you think you need to be doing now? You need to believe him forever. When Moshe told the words of the people of Yahuwah, to Yahuwah said to Moshe, go to the people and consecrate them today and tomorrow, to that 3 days. And let them wash their garments and be ready against the 3rd day of the 3rd month. 3-3. Ain't that something? 33. Ain't that something? 33. Ain't that something? The 3rd month. The 3rd day of the 3rd month. 33. You say, where does stuff come from? 33. For on the 3rd day, Yahuwah will come down on Mount Sinai in the sight of all the people. 33. You say, what? Why do you think Yahushua was here with 33? He was 33 years old as it was supposed, or 32 as it was supposed. And he died at 33. For on the 3rd day, Yahuwah will come down on Mount Sinai in the sight of all the people, and you shall set limits for the people all around, saying, take care not to go up into the mountain or nigah, or touch the edge of it. Now you see why when he rose, he told that woman, don't touch me. I have not yet ascended to my Father, woman. Do you understand? You need to go read back Exodus 19. So why do you think these 40 days are for? So you think all that Yahushua began to do and teach, so you think he wasn't teaching this right now? In his 40 days he was here? He knew exactly what he had to show them in order for them to understand it. No hand shall nigah touch him, but he shall be stoned or shot. He said, you gonna die. Why? Whether beast or man. Now you see why them beasts or man, because this all happened in Midbar, in the desert. And same thing when Mashah got off, or Nuach got off the ship, it was desert, it was dry, and the animals got off too. He shall not live. He said, nobody gonna live. Why? When the Turah sounds a long blast, they shall come up to the mountain. So Mashah went down from the mountain to the people and consecrated the people. What do you think Yahushua was doing? What do you think he was doing? And they washed their garments. What do you think these days are for? It's 40 days, and then you get to the 3rd month, which is when the sun go down, and the first 3 days. What do you think this is for? And he said to the people, be ready in the 3rd day, and do not go near women. Why? He said, I don't need you to be thinking about that right now. He said, I know you dibbled and dad. I said, yeah, but no. I don't need you to be doing that right now. And he said, why? This is the book of Revelations. This is the book of Revelations, Hazum, chapter 14 and 1. Revelations chapter 14, Revelations Hazum, chapter 14 and verse 1. Revelations 14 and 1. Then I looked, and behold, on Mount Sion stood a lamb. Well, they stood a lamb, Yahushua Mashiach, right? And with him, 144,000. And with him, what? 144,000 who had his name and his father's name written in their forehead. What name you got in your forehead? His name don't mean nothing. I don't even know his name. Yes, you do. He said it's written in their foreheads. And what did they do? In their frontal lobe. I don't need to know his name. His name don't mean nothing. Yes, it do. His name start with a yod. How you gonna get brought into the ark? Because he put a yod and brought the dove in. How you gonna get the ruach? He said, love believes all things and hopes all things. The yod brought the doves, the Yunah, into the ark. So how you going to bring it into your ark if you don't believe that his name starts with a yod? How you going to bring him into your ark, the Ruach, into you, if you don't believe his name starts with a yod? And with him 144,000 who has his name in his name and his father's name written in their foreheads, two separate names. So you say, oh, it ain't two separate names. It's only one name. It's two separate names. You need to know his name. They start with a yod. If you don't know his name, start with a yod, how you going to understand this? It's two separate names. How many pasas we got? We got two of them. And the two shall become one. Why do you think Yahushua said, I and my father are one? And they be like, because the first one, Yahuwah brought you. Yahuwah was trying to show you, I brought you out of Mizraim eagle's wings, but then his son made it clear. You see me, I'm like Mashad, and I'm the second version. I'm redeeming you the second time. I'm bringing you out. I'm showing you exactly how this thing goes. And with him 144,000 who had his name and his father's name written in their foreheads. And I heard a voice from Shamaim. You know what happened to Mashar we just read? Like the roar of many waters and like the sound of a loud thunder. And then we just read thunder, thunder, thunder. You know how they say? They'd be like, what? And the voice I heard was like the sound of, he said, Yehuda like a lion's whelp, like a lion's cut, like a cat. Never mind. The voice I heard was like the sound of a harpist playing with on their harps, and they were singing a new song before the throne, and before the four living creatures, and before the elders. No one could learn the song except the 144,000. He said, you can't learn it. So if you don't understand this, how you going to learn the song? The only people who can learn this is the 144,000. Who have been redeemed from the earth. Oh, we just read it. In the Aramaic Targums. He said, I redeemed you. Didn't we just read that? Yasharal from Mizraim. Didn't we just read that? Who is that? Yasharal. It is these who have not been defiled with women. We just read right here. He said to the people, be ready in the third day and do not go near women on the first day of the third month. Oh. That's what Yahushua just said. Because it's greater than Mashah is here now. He's held in more honor than Mashah now. It is these who have not been the fathers of a women, for they are virgins. Oh, so what do you think? Oh, he a virgin? You ain't no virgin man. You ain't no virgin woman. You ain't no virgin. Okay. For they are virgins. Once you start abstaining and you start doing stuff like this, for they are virgins. It is these who follow the Lamb wherever he goes. Man, he following the animal. Why would he follow the Lamb? They follow the Lamb everywhere he goes. But they chasing that lamb. You ever had a lamb escape and go outside the camp? Oh, that's what he meant though. Oh, let's go to outside the camp. What happened to the lamb? The lamb done left the camp. Man, we gotta go find that lamb. And the only way you're going to find it, you're going to have to go through some stuff to go find that lamb. That lamb outside the camp, that lamb I'm gone. He's like, man, we got to go find that lamb. And amazingly, wherever he goes, these have been redeemed from mankind as the first fruit for Elohim and the lamb. He said, you're being redeemed from Mizraim. And in their mouth, no lie was found. I told you, if you feel like you're going to lie, we can do this for another 7 days. And then another 7 days. This is the whole point of this whole. He said no lie was found. Add not to his debar lest you be rebuked and be found a lie. Why? Because Yahushua Mashiach came to redeem man. For they are blameless. He said they blameless. They virgins and they blameless. And guess what? Verse 6. And I saw another malach flying directly overhead. Amen. It was another malach flying directly over my head. You know what he said? With eternal truth to proclaim to those who dwell on the earth. To every nation and tribe and language and people. But the 144,000 first now. He said virgins, first fruit. Then I saw Malak flying with the eternal truth. So who's supposed to have the eternal truth to teach all nations, languages, and tongues? And guess what? Those who dwell on the earth, to every nation, tribe, language, and tongue. And he said with a loud voice, right? He was loud voice. Fear Elohim. Say what? He said with a loud voice. Fear Elohim Yahuwah and give kabod, because the hour of his judgment has come. Behold, he come with clouds. And every eye gonna see him. Because when Yahushua came down with a cloud, he said, behold, I am coming with a thick cloud to the people, that they may hear when I speak with you. But he said, you're going to hear then. With a loud voice. His judgment has come. Worship him who made Shamayim and earth. So he made everything. The Shamayim, the Shamayim, and the Arats, and under the earth. And the worlds, and every other place you want to go. You go to a parallel world, Yahuwah there. You go to the bottom of the sea, Yahuwah there. You go to Rakia, Yahuwah there. He can see you. You can go to the uttermost parts of the end of the earth, to the water where the gates go to Jerusalem, where the water dome end, and everybody want to go. He said, Yahuwah there too. He said, I see you there too. I can go underground. You go in the underground cavern, have it nice and neat, with all these different things in your silo, and it looks all nice and rich and stored with food. He said, Yahuwah is still there too. He said, I see you. He says, fear Elohim and give kabod to him. Fear Yahuwah, because the hour of his judgment has come, and worship him who made Shamayim and earth, the sea, and the springs of water, right? You know, the water you get to drink from, and the water you jump inside, that you swim in. Another Malak, he said, guess what? And another Malak, a second, followed, saying. How many Pesachs we had? 2. How many? We had 2 Pesachs. 2 Kagmasas. And he said, I saw another Malak. A second, followed, saying, the 2 witnesses, I got 2 on this thing. Fallen is Babal the Great. For she made all nations drink of the wine of the passions of her sexual immorality. He said, you a prostitute. You made them all. Why? You know how you make somebody drink of your wine of your sexual immorality? You show it all off. You put it all out there for them to see. I mean, I make $500,000 a month, $2 million a month, and you amazing. You got the face of Babal. You the face of Babal, right? Man, I make $2 million a month. Man, what you talking about? I put it all on the videos, right? That's the whole point. He said, you the mother of all harlots. Who you think your mother is? Because you came out from her. As the mother, so is the daughter. Mother of all harlots. So you just like the mother of all harlots. As the mother, so is the daughter. You just like the whore that sits on many waters. You just been born from her. And now you in the image and likeness of her. And she pay you too. The queen of Shamayim, boy, she pay you all that money. But not even knowing your judgment day is coming. And that's the whole point. Another Malak, a third, right? So we can do it 3 times if you want. If you want to do this thing 3 times, he said we could do it another 7 days. Remember we said that? And another Malak followed them, saying with a loud voice, if anyone worships the beast in his image and receives the mark on his forehead or on his hand, I told you, you have a frontlets between your eyes and in your hands, right? Ain't we supposed to have that? You're supposed to have that in the frontlets between your eyes and the sun in your hand. And then you have yours commandments. You're supposed to speak these words. Everyone speak truth to your neighbor. You're supposed to speak these words when you sit in the house, walk by when you lie around, you rise up. But if you don't, this will going to happen to you. And the third Malak and the third followed them, saying with a loud voice, if anyone worships the beast, you're going to worship another god. You ain't going to worship the one who made Shamayim and earth. Worships the beast and its image. You ain't supposed to worship no animal. and receives the mark in his forehead or in his hand, you worship another god, Elohim, he also will drink of the wine of Elohim's wrath. So you better speak truth to your neighbor. Pour full strength in the cup of his anger. And he will be tormented with fire and sulfur in the presence of the Chdsh Malachim and in the presence of the Lamb. What do you mean the Chdsh Malachim? How many Malachim Yahuwah got? 144,000. You just read it. He had 144,000 with Yahushua Mashiach, the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment goes up forever and ever. And they have no rest day. They have no rest day nor night. Why you ain't got the rest day or night? Because you worship other gods, Elohim. It has touched your heart. There is no quiet. The Ruach don't dwell inside of you. It has no rest. You got no place to go. You have nowhere to hide. He ain't put out his yard and brought you in the ark. And you found no place of rest. You got no rest. Day nor night. In the evening and morning sacrifices, you ain't got no rest. These worshipers of the beast and his image, and whoever receives the mark of his name. Here's the call of the endurance of the Kadashim. Those who keep the commandments of Elohim and the Amunah of Yahushua. He says, so how many times they did it? 777. You can go do it a third time if you want. But we're in the first day of the third month now going in. He says, you know what? These are they who follow Yahushua everywhere he goes. These are virgins. They keep themselves from women. Matter of fact, they consecrate themselves and wash their garments. With what? With the blood of the Lamb of Yahushua Mashiach. Right? And this is the whole point. I'll just show them all. This is 1 Samuel 14, 47 to 52. We almost finished. When Shaul had taken the kingship over Yasharal, he fought against all his enemies on every side. Against Moab, against the Ammonites, against Edom, against the kings of Zobah, and against the Philistines. And whenever he turned, he routed them. He tore them up. And he did valiantly instruct the Amalekites and delivered Yasharal out of the hands of those who plundered them. Now the sons of Shaul were Jonathan, Ishvi, and Malachi Shur. And the names of his two daughters were these. The names of his firstborn were Merab, and the name of his younger Michal. And the name of Saul's wife was Ahinam, and the daughter of Ahinamaz. And the name of the commander of his army was Abner, the son of Ner, Saul's uncle. Saul had an uncle, and his son was Abner. It was all in the family. Kish, the father of Saul, and Ner, the father of Abner, was the son of Abiel. There was hard fighting against the Philistines all the days of Shaul. And when Shaul saw any strong man or valiant man, he attached himself to himself. Boy, he said, man, you see that, bro? Bring yourself over here. Bring yourself. But I need you on my team. Bring you over here. But I saw anybody strong. But I need you on my team. But I need you to make me look good. You know, that's what Saul needs. Saul need everybody good on his team. Not Yahushua, though. Yahushua had, what, 82? He had 82, but he only chose 12. He's like, man, I ain't picking all these people. I don't need all these people with me. I only need 12. Right, you can have 400 people, like Gamaliel said. He's like, that don't mean nothing. He said, these two people right here, they made all you people go crazy. Right? So therefore, I only need 2. But he said, he attached himself to them, right? Because that's what Saul, he attached himself to themselves, right? So that word for Shaul, Shaul's name means desired. When Shaul had taken the kingship over Yasharal, because his name means desired. Why? Shaul was a high stature. He was tall. He was the desired individual. Right? His name means desired. Shaul. Right? The word Abner. Right? That's what his name means. Abner. His name means Abner. He says his father. He said the commander of his army was Abner, desire, my father is the lamp. Abner, my father is the lamp. That's what his name means. My father is the lamp, is a lamp, is a near. And you're supposed to have beaten olive oil that your lamp, your near, may continually burn. My father is a near. Right? That's what his name means. Abner. That's what his name means. Father near. Abner, right? Father of light. Right? So that his word for Chdsh, he says Saul's uncle. Chdsh was the father of Saul, right? So that word for Chdsh means bent. A bow. That's what his name means. Chdsh was the father of Saul. His name means bent. Bent. He said, why is this all important? This is 1 Samuel chapter 9, 1 through 6. So he said, why was he desired? There was a man of Benjamin whose name was Chdsh, or Kish, the son of Abiel, the son of Zeror, son of Becherah, the son of Aphiah, a Benjamite, a man of wealth. Right, so he was Benjamin. Just like Shaul was. One Shaul from the tribe of Benjamin. In Romans chapter 11, Paul was from the same tribe with the same name. And he's like, how is this person got the same name as Saul? Right? They was from the same Benjamin tribe. He was a man of wealth. Why do you think Saul was able to pay for his own thing for 2 years in the book of Acts without his own expense? He was like, what do you mean by that? And he had a son whose name was Shaul, a handsome young man. That's his name meant desire. So what do you think Shaul was? Paul. He was desired. Right? A handsome young man. There was not a man among the people of Yasharal more handsome than he. Right? So you think, so that's even Absalom was like this. But then you see, man, it wasn't nobody like Saul, man, he was, boy, for his shoulders upward, he was taller than any other people. Man, he was taller than everybody. Nobody would. He's like, man, this person here, 6'4", 6'6", handsome, look good. Ain't nobody like him in Yasharal. Now the donkeys of Kish, his father, because they were rich too. So you think about wealth, handsome, 6'6", 6'5", 6'4", 6'3", tall, money. Who won't want him? Now the donkeys of Kish, Saul's father, were lost. So Kish said to Saul, his son, take one of the young men with you, and arise and go and look for the donkeys. And he passed through the hill country of Ephraim and passed through the land of Shalishah, but they did not find them. He said, man, we were looking for that thing. It was like we were looking for that lamb. They weren't looking for the lamb because the lamb was outside the camp. Let's go to Yahusha outside the camp and suffer the reproach he was. Because remember, he was a lamb, dumb, like he couldn't speak. He opened not his mouth, and he suffered outside the camp. Why do you think he was telling them, these are virgins that follow me everywhere I went? And he said he's looking for donkeys, right? And they passed through the land of Shalim, but they were out not there. And they passed through the land of Benjamin, but did not find them. Why do you think when Yahusha got up, they couldn't find him in the grave? He said, why you seek the living among the dead? He is not here, he is risen. He's not here. Because Benjamin name means son of my right hand. Because that's what he is. But he said, when they came to the land of Zuph, Saul said to his servants, who was with him? Come, let us go back. So that's what you want to go do? You know how it is. I was looking for the lamb. I couldn't find him. You know, I was trying to find the lamb. I was going out to suffer with him. And, you know, outside the camp and do all these things, right? Better approach and be virgins. These are virgins who were what? Kept themselves with women. You can't go in the desert inside of a building. You couldn't go in the desert if you was in the ark. You had to get out the ark to go in the desert. You had to get out of Mizraim and get redeemed to go in the desert, to keep yourself and women, to get yourself to the 3rd day of the 1st month. 1st day of the 3rd month. You had to go outside to do that in order for it to be like that. It's like real dry out here, man. Ain't nothing out here. He said, I know. He said, that's where my training program starts. But here's what it says. When they came out of the land of Zuph, Shaul said to the servants who was with him, come, let us go back, lest my father cease to care about the donkeys and become anxious about us. He said, he gonna get anxious about us because he gonna start thinking about us now. But he said to him, behold, there is a man of Elohim in this city. He said, man, let me go keep going. He said, what do you mean? Let's keep going. In this city, and he is a man who is held in honor. He said, man, he held, oh, we just read. A house is built by some man. He says, but Yahuwah made all things, the Shamaim in the earth. Worship Yahuwah who made the Shamaim in the earth. For this man was held in more honor than who? Mashah. In the book of Hebrew. He held in more honor than Mashah. And he is a man who is held in honor. All that he says comes true. You know what Yahushua was? Everything he said, it can come true. So now let us go there. Perhaps he can tell us the way we should go. He said, what do you mean? Let us do what? Let us go there. Let's go home. Let's go back. No, let us go there. He gonna tell us where to go. And guess what? That went for the son of Abiel, the son of Zeror, right? So you look at all of the lineages, right, of the Saul's family. He was the son of Abiel. That word for Abiel is Yahuwah is my father. They were a wealthy family too. That is possessor. That's what his name means. Abiel. Yahuwah is my father. Right, so that the son of Zeror, that word for Zeror is Sarur. The son of Sarur. It means a partial, a packed up or kernel or particle. It means bundle, pouch, bag, pebble. He said, man, see, they had my father is Elohim, and then they got this pouch, this bag, right? Because they were wealthy family. Right, so that they say son of Bacharath. That word Bacharath is the firstborn. He said firstborn. That's what his lineage is. That was Shaul's lineage is. Bacharath. He said the firstborn. They are all ancestors of Shaul. Right, and it says the son of Aphia or Afiyak, son of Afiyak. Right? He says what? I will make to breathe. That's what his name means, Afiyak. Because you know, Af is what we talked about in the beginning. Right here. When he breathed into Ashman's his nostrils, his Afiyak. He said, I will make to breathe. Right? You ever get so angry you can't breathe? That's what Af means, anger. Afiyak. It means to breathe, right? He says what? And he says a man, he said a Benjamite, right? Son of my right hand, a man of Kail, of wealth. Strength, might, efficiency, wealth, and army. He said, man, ability, efficiency, wealth, army, right? A force, right? You handsome, tall, got a lineage like this, and you wealthy. Boy, you got a lot of force with you, riches, right? You do a lot of things, substance, right? You can train a lot of people, right? That's his lineage. But that's not the whole thing, right? Continuing on, Olive Shamuel 9:15 through 21. There's a reason why I'm reading. There's a reason why all this, right? Now. So now the day before Shaul came, Yahuwah had revealed to Shamuel, tomorrow about this time I will send to you a man from the land of Benjamin. And you shall anoint him to be Nagid over the people of Yasharal. You're going to anoint him. he shall save my people from the hand of the Philistines. He said he's going to save them from the hand of the Philistines. For I have seen my people because their cry has come to me. And when Shemuel saw Saul, Yahuwah told him, here is the man whom I spoke to you. He it is who shall restrain my people. He said, man, they're going to restrain my people. He's going to restrain my people. He's going to restrain them. Because when you look at all of the fathers, you see all of the wealth they had, the Caillou. He said, Elohim is my father. You see the pouch and all the things that he had. But he said he was a man. He said, man, we're going to go to this man held in honor. Man, this man is so held in honor, we're going to go see him. And all this stuff, we're going to see him. For I have seen my people because of their cry has come to me. And when Shemuel saw Saul, Yahuwah told him, here is the man whom I have spoken to you. He is he who shall restrain my people. Then Shaul approached Shemuel in the gate and said, tell me, where is the house of the seer? Shemuel answered Saul, I am the seer. He said, that me. Right, this is Yuchanan chapter 5, verse 37. Yuchanan 5:37. Yuchanan 5:37. And the Father who sent me has himself borne witness about me. Huh? when Saul sent out to go find the donkeys. He was sent out to go find the donkeys. But then he said, we couldn't find them. So they said, man, you know this is man of Elohim. Man, it's a man of Elohim, man. Everything he say come true. And he held in real honor too. So which one are you holding in honor? And guess what? And the Father who sent me has himself borne witness about me. His voice you have never heard. His form you have never seen. Did Shaul ever see Shemuel? This is the first time he meeting him. He ain't never heard his voice. He ain't never seen him before. You ain't never seen. And you do not have his word abiding in you. He said, man, you ain't tell you where to go yet. You know, because that's what he said. We're going to go to him. He's going to tell us where to go. He's going to speak to the bar and tell us what to go and do. And what he said? And guess what he said? For you do not believe the one whom he has sent. And guess what happens? You search the scriptures because you think in them you have eternal life. It is they who bear witness about me. As for he says what? And Shemuel answered Saul. He says, tell me, where is the house of the seer? Shemuel answered Saul, I am the seer. Because Yahushua said, it bears witness about me. Yet you refuse to come to me that you may have life. But Shaul just did right here. He went to his house. Because he was trying to figure out where to go to find the donkeys. Remember everything we lost. I do not receive kabod from people. He said, nobody care nothing about me. But I know that you do not have the love of Elohim within you. I have come in my Father's name. You do not receive me. If anyone comes in his own name, you know, like Shemuel, Shaul, they got wealth and money and all these things in their own lineage in their family. Right? They were people. He said, but I know that you have not the love of Elohim within you. I have come in my Father's name. In the Shaul did. Shaul came in his father's name to Shemuel. And you do not receive me, but Shemuel did. If another comes in his own name, you will receive him. How can you believe when you receive kabod one of another? But guess what? And do not seek the kabod that comes from only Elohim himself. And when Shemuel held in honor, when Saul held in honor, he was desired. But he said, you get honor one of another. But you're not seeking the honor that Elohim that come from above. But guess what? Do not seek the kabod that come, but you do not seek the bold that come from Elohim only. Do not think that I will accuse you to the Father. He's like, I ain't gonna accuse you nothing. I ain't gonna accuse you nobody. For there is one who accuses you, Mashah, on whom you have set your hope. Because the greater than Mashah is here, right? That's what he said. I held him more honor. But you ain't even trying to get that. For if you believe Mashah, you will believe me. For he wrote of me. But if you do not believe his writings, how will you believe my words? He said, how are you going to believe my words? But these are all important. But what's the point of all this? Everything that happened for a reason. Right? It's going back to 1 Samuel 9 and 19. Shamuel answered Saul, I am a seer. I am the seer. Go up before me to the high place, for today you shall eat with me. And in the morning I will let you go and will tell you all that is on your mind. He said, go up to the high place in the morning, and I will go. And you know what he says? Go up before me to the high place, for today you shall eat with me. And in the morning I will let you go and will tell you all that is on your mind. As for your donkeys, you know, I know you were looking for them animals. It says they were lost 3 days ago. They were lost 3 days ago. Right? Actually 45 days ago, they were lost. They were lost 3 days ago. Do not set your mind on them. He said, don't set your mind on that. Why? Because these are all of the Ruach that I'm getting ready to say. Why? Because they that set their mind on the Ruach, on the flesh, is death. They that set their mind on the Ruach is life. For they have been found. He said they already been found already. So don't worry about them already. I know you're worried about them. I know you're trying to seek and try to find them, but they already been found. And for whom is all that is desirable in Yasharal? You know what his name means? This is the first time he met Saul. But he said, all that is desirable in Yasharal, it is not for you and for your father's house. He said, it ain't for you or your father's house. Saul answered, am I not a Benjamite? He's like, hold up. He said, am I not a Benjamite? The son of your right hand, from the least of the tribes of Yasharal? He's like, I'm of the smallest tribes in Yasharal. I'm the least. And is not my clan the humblest of all the clans of the tribe of Benjamin? Because everybody in Benjamin ain't this way. Why then have you spoken to me this way? He's like, why are you talking to me like this? He said, why are you talking to me like this, right? This is the book of This is why he's talking to him like that. This is why he's talking to you like that. This is why he's talking to you, right? This is the book of Matthew, chapter 5, in verse Matthew chapter 5 and verse 1. Matthew chapter 5 verse 1. Seeing the crowds, he went up to the mountain, and when he sat down, the disciples came to him. And what he just said to Saul, he said, go to the mountain. I'm going to tell you what all that's on your mind. And he opened his mouth and he taught them, saying, Barak is the poor in Ruach, for there is the kingdom of Shamayim. They don't need to be worrying about those donkeys. They've been found. He was a rich man, though. He was wealthy, but he was poor in Ruach, though. Barak are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Barak are the meek, for they shall inherit the Aydahs. Barak are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be satisfied. Barak are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy. What happened? Barak are the pure in heart, for they shall see Elohim. Barak are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the sons of Elohim. Barak are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of Shamayim. So why is this important? Because when everything that Saul did and everything he did was a pattern. And there's many other things that Abner and them did too as well. But these are all a part of what? The understanding. Right? So this is the book of Luke, or I say Matthew. Luke or Matthew. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 11, verse 28. Matthew, chapter 11, verse 28. Matthew 11 and 28. Let's go to 28. Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Right? You know what happened to the dove, the eunuch? The dove, the eunuch, because she was looking for a place of rest. And she found one. And then she rested and was quiet too. A home. And then what Saul seeking after? A home. He said, you're going to come to my home. Go up to the mountain, and I'm going to tell you what's all on your mind. And guess what? Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Because if you don't let them animals rest, you know what they're going to do? They're going to be upset. Right? Take my yoke upon you and learn from me. Right? He said you're gonna put a yoke of oxen on the ox on the day of rest. You go ahead and you do that you want to. He gonna get upset at you. You better put that yoke on yourself. Take that yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart. He said, I know how to handle doves and ravens. I know how to let animals rest. I know how to feed the poor too. Matter of fact, I know how to let the olives and the olive orchards and the vineyard rest. I know how to do all that. I'm lowly in heart. And I'm one of the lowest of the people in the clans of Benjamin, of the tribe. I'm lowly in heart. And you will find rest for your souls. Why? For my yoke is easy. And my burden is light. He said, my burden light. He said, I'm like Abner. I'm like Abner. You know Abner? The commander of Saul? You know Abner? Oh, you mean like the guy whose name meant Father of Light, or Lamp of the Father, near of Ah. He said, my burden is light. Right, so this is the word for seer is Ra'ah. He said, tell me where the house of the seer or the Ra'ah. It says to see, to inspect, to perceive, to consider, to look, to regard, to observe, to be seen, root, to see. He said, go up to the mountain and go to his house. He'll show you there's somebody in this mountain over here that nobody know about. He said, you go to his house, he'll tell you everything that's on your mind. Before you even get there, I already knew your name is desirable, and I knew that who already told me that you were coming. Because that's a real Ra'ah, not somebody who just called. I already know before you even got here that you were coming here. By the Ruach that Yahuwah told me that you were coming. Just like when Jeroboam's wife came in there, he said, why are you pretending to be some other woman? Please don't do that. Don't do that. That's how you know a real, that's what you call them. He says, it means to be seen, to be visible, to be seen. Why do you think he said, Nathaniel, when you was under the fig tree, I saw you. Didn't he say that? I saw you. How you knew that? Because I already know. Because you thought it was talking about Shemuel. No, it was talking about me. I already saw you under the fig tree. I already knew you. Before the earth even was, I knew you were going to be a Nabi to the nations. Isn't that what he said? It's Yirmiyahu. I already knew that. And then Yahuwah say in the book of Sirach, he says, Yahuwah is, you feel the eyes of men, not even knowing that Yahuwah's eyes are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, beholding all the ways of men, right? You know what he said? I can see 10,000 times brighter than the sun. It means the root, to see. Right, so that word for donkey is a thong. It means she-donkey. Notice how we got all these females, feminine birds. These are all feminine birds. I told you, you gotta be gentle. You can't be with these animals. Ooh, what? Female, she-donkey, she ass, what they call female ass, right? They call it donkey, patience. Right, you know how to say it? Patience. I told you, everything about the animals is what? A feminine type of nature. You gotta be real gentle and all courteous and all love. You gotta be real gentle. You can't do what people do. Why do you think they weren't gentle with Yahushua Mashiach when they killed that man? There's a reason why they weren't gentle with the son. Uh-oh. We're not gonna talk about it right now, but there's a reason why he wasn't gentle with the son now. He was like a dumb lamb, but you don't have no idea. But he says, a thong, a she-donkey, right? He says, am I from the least, that word for least, from the least of the tribes of Yashua, that word for least is katan. It means young, small, insignificant, unimportant, diminutive, least, unimportant. What does this got to do with anything? He said, I'm least, unimportant. He said, why does it got to do with anything? All right, so this is the book of, I think it's Psalms, Tahalim. I think it's Psalms, Tahalim. Psalms, Tahalim, 119. Psalms 119, 137. Sod. 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 And it says, righteous are you, O Yahuwah, and right are your rules. You have appointed your testimonies in righteousness, and in all faithfulness my zeal consumes me, because my foes forget your words. Your promise is well tried, because my foes forget your words. Why? Your promise is well tried. I'm trying to tell you. It's tried. You're going to get tried. You're going to get tested. And your servant loves it. Why do you think Yahushua got tried? He said, I love it. Why? I am small and despised, man. I'm like the least of the tribes of Yashua. You know what he said? Yet, I do not forget your precepts, Zakar. He said, I don't forget that though. But guess what it says? Your righteousness is righteous forever. Uh-oh. And your Torah, your law is true. That's why he said, I redeemed you out of Mizraim, and I brought you to the law. Didn't I redeem you to the law? In the Aramaic Targums. Trouble and anguish has found me out. He said, man, it's found me out. He found out everything in the deepest, most parts of myself. He found me out. Guess what? Your commandments are my delight. Your testimonies, your Aydah, are righteous forever. Give me understanding that I may live. Why do you think he's doing all this? Why do you think he's doing all this, right? So that word for least is katan. It means insignificant, abbreviated, small. It doesn't matter. I'm really tiny, very small. But he said, yeah, I don't forget what you said though. They got 400. He like, so they forgot what I said. And Gamaliel say they all got taken out. He like, but I ain't forget what you said though. Right? But these are all a part of it. That word for humble is his. And it's not my clan the humblest. That word for humblest is Seir. Seir. So he said, we're the least, and Seir, we're insignificant. Younger, he says youngest. Why? Because they're the last son that was born in the family of Yaakov. Because they're the smallest and the least. They're like the small child. And when we are the youngest and the small child, that was the smallest. When Esau came, we the last one. When he numbered everybody from older to younger, we the smallest. You know, you give the smallest person all the most food too. Why do you think he gave them all the most wealth? You get a small child, because they got to grow. You got to give them all the food. You got to throw all the food in their mouth. And amazing when you get older. You go from, you get born, you go being born in the world, you go from solid food, or you go from non-solid foods, from milk to semi-solid food to solid food. Then you get older, you got to go back to not so much solid food to like, not so solid food to like literally milk again. In order for you to survive. Till you eat nothing. That's literally how it works. You say, so why? When you get older, you're supposed to eat less. And then you go lower, and then you start eating plants, and then you grind it up into soup. And you get lower, and then you go all the way back to just not eating nothing. It's like that for some reason. So watch what you eat, right? And you say why. It says younger, youngest, little, few, young, ignoble, least, small. Right? So just because you're small and insignificant don't mean you don't forget. Don't be like them who forget. That's the whole point. Mostly Proverbs 27:18. Whosoever tends to the fig tree will eat its fruit. And he who guards or Tsar, his master, or Shamar, his master's master, will be honored. So you got to guard this thing. Or for 10 is Netzar. You got 10 to the fig tree. You got 10 to your tree. To watch, to keep, to preserve, to guard from dangers. Because they coming. To keep, because you don't want it to touch your heart. Ooh, you know if it touch your heart. To be a blockade. Because if it get on the walls of your heart, it's going to touch you. Your heart. To guard, the good sense, to protect, to conceal. Right? Right? This Marshall Proverbs 13, 1-6. A wise son hears his father's instructions, but a scoffer does not listen to rebuke. From the fruit of his mouth, a man eats what is good. Right? So if you say something from the fruit of your mouth, and it be the worship of the beast in his image and likeness. If you worship another god, you say another Elohim, another idol, you worship idols. But the desires of the treacherous is for violence. Whosoever Netzar, his mouth preserves his life. Whosoever what? Tends to his mouth preserves his life. And he who opens wide his lips comes to ruin. You're going to come to ruin. The soul of the sluggard craves and gets nothing, while the soul of the diligent is richly supplied. The righteous hates falsehood. The Sadiq. But the wicked bring shame and disgrace. Righteousness, Netzar, him whose way is blameless. It tends to those whose way is blameless. So if your ways are blameless, just like we read in the book of Revelation, Hazum, he said, these are they who follow the Lamb everywhere they went. And they are virgins. And they have been defiled by women. For they are blameless, the redeemed from the earth. Righteousness, Netzar, him whose way is blameless. So if you want to be this way, blameless, then, but sin overthrows the wicked. You're going to get overthrown. See, this is all a part of maintaining. Because this is all about maintaining, right? This is Yukonon 16, 12 through 15. I have many things to say to you, but you cannot bear them now. When the Ruach of truth comes, he will guide you into all truth, and he will not speak of his own authority. But whatsoever he hears, he will speak. And he will declare to you things that are to come. That's how it works. He will kabod me. Give glory to Yahuwah, who made the Shamains and the earth in the book of Revelation. For he made all things. For he will take what is mine and declare it to you. All that the Father has is mine, therefore I said, he will take what is mine and declare it to you. How many times in New throw the dove out, put the dove and the raven out. He did it twice. Then he waited 7 days. He did that. Then he waited another 7 days, and he sent him out the ark again. He would take what is mine and declare it to you. He will take what is mine and release the dove again. This is Psalms 50. Psalms 50 and 1. Tehillim, Psalms 50 and 1. 50 and every Psalms 50 and 8. Psalm Tehillim 50 and 1. Psalms Tehillim 50 and 1. 50 and 9. Psalms Tehillim 50 and 9. I will not accept a bull from your house, or goats of your fold. For every beast of the forest is mine, and the cattle on 1,000 hills. I know all the birds of the hills. So who own all that? That's Yahuwah's stuff. It's all his stuff. And all that moves in the field are mine. Say what? If I were hungry, I wouldn't tell you. For the world is mine and the fullness thereof. Worship Yahuwah Elohim, who made the Shamayim in the earth and the sea, who filled it with all his treasuries. Worship Yahuwah Elohim. For his judgment is come. I saw another Malachim flying. They said, man, his judgment has come. And I will, you know what it says? Do I eat the flesh of bulls and drink the blood of goats? Offer the Elohim thanksgiving and perform your vows to the Most High Yahuwah. And call upon him in the day of trouble, and I will deliver you. And you shall kabod me. That's the whole point of glorify me. Yukonah 16:14. And he will glorify me. For he will take what is mine and declare it to you. That's what Noah did with the dove. That was Yahuwah's dove. His unit. And he sent it out the ark. He was taking what was Yahuwah's and declaring it to you. That's all he was doing. Did the same thing he did again. Wait another 7. He took what is mine and then declared to you. He had a raven. He took what was mine and he declared to you. And all that the Father has is mine. Therefore, I said, he will take what is mine and declare it to you. And if it find rest on you, then the Ruach shall come upon you, the dove. And you got to be real gentle and lowly and courteous. You got to be like that in order to keep it. Or the Ruach get in battle mode. And you don't want to get the Ruach in battle mode. When the Ruach get in battle mode, that's a whole nother mode now. You know what I'm saying? You ain't afraid a lot of the Ruach, right? It's a different type. I know it sounds crazy. But the Ruach has a gentle, meek, lowly, kind, loving mode. But then you have another mode of the Ruach that you do not want to cross, especially when you start lying, because the righteous hate falsehood, right? So they're going to activate, and you don't want that to activate. That's going to be the end of you, right? It's not a game. People think it's a joke. Go read all through the Torah where it said the Ruach came upon him, and you'll find out what the other battle mode is about the Ruach that you do not want to cross. And they already knew that. In that book of Acts, they already knew. They shouldn't know. Right? This is Nazarene Asher Shalakim, how demons get power over men and women and children. Therefore, the demons, as we have just said, when once have been able by means of opportunities afforded them to convey themselves with base and evil actions into the bodies of men, women, and children. Like we talked about, all those things you got to put away. That filthy communication got to go. Right? That anger. Don't let the sun go down on your wrath. Or them demons gonna have a field day with you all night and all day. And they're gonna touch your heart too. They're gonna touch your mind. That's why the demons speak through other people's bodies. They're trying to get in your mind and touch your heart. So they can trouble you and have the other spirits on the inside, and the gates of Sheol open inside of you. And next thing you know, everything starts to feed into your life. And you be like, why is everything going haywire? Because they unleash the demons inside of you. Right? If they remain in them a long time through their own negligence, because they do not seek after what is profitable for their inner being, he said, that's not profitable for me, right? My Ozen can't hear that. If I hear that, then it's going to turn me into another being. Right? You're going to turn you up. You're going to turn you. You know, I said invasion of the body snatchers. You've seen that movie, right? Invasion of the body snatchers. They necessarily compel them in the future to fulfill the desires of the demons that dwell in them. He said, next time I see you, it'll be the last time I see you. That's the desire of a demon. People don't know that. They be thinking like, yeah, you know, that's cool. You immersing Yahushua and you put on his name, he said, and you, next time I see you, that's the last time I see you. But what is worst of all, at the end of the age, at the end of all this, when the demon will be co-signed the ageless fire, for necessity the Ruach also that obeyed him will with him be tortured in ageless fires, together with his body it has polluted. He said that's where you're going. This is Romans 6:6-11. To set your mind on the flesh is death, but to set your mind on the Ruach is life and shalom. Don't worry about the donkeys. For they've been found. The Adon. Don't worry about it. For to set your mind on the flesh is hostile to Yahuwah. Don't worry about them animal show. That's what happened to him too in 1 Samuel 15. 2 Samuel 15. What happened? When he went into there, he said, well, rebellion is a sin of witchcraft, right? And then people said, why is this? Go in the book of 1 Samuel. He said, why? People don't know. So this is 1 Samuel chapter 15 and verse 6. 1 Samuel, all of Shemuel, chapter 15 and verse 6. 1 Samuel 15:6. Then Saul said to the Kenites, depart and go down from among the Amalekites, lest I destroy you with them. For you showed kindness to all the people of Yasharal when they came up out of the Mizraim. So the Kenites departed from among the Amalekites, and Saul defeated Amalekites in Havilah as far as Shur, which is the sea of Mizraim. And he took Agag, the king of Amalekites, alive, and devoted to destruction all the people with the edge of the sword. But Saul and the people spared Agag and the best of the sheep, and the oxen, and the fatted calves, and the lambs, and all that was good to you, and would not utterly destroy them. And you say, why is everything going? Because you got some things in your life that you don't want to destroy. You have to utterly destroy them. And if you don't, all that was despised and worthless, they devoted to destruction. Now you see why they want to kill Yahushua Mashiach. He was despised and rejected by men. And they destroyed the Son. Because they despised him. They despised him and they didn't want to do what Yahuwah said. And they considered him worthless, like one of them worthless, like son of Belial. You got a demon. You know what they said? They said, you got a demon. You know what they said? Who's seeking to kill you? You. They devoted to destruction, and the word of Yahuwah came to Shemuel. I regret. See, that's what's going to happen to you. He said, I regret. What do you mean I regret? That I have made Saul king, for he has turned back from following me. He fell away. He fell away. He didn't do what I said. And has not performed my commandments. You ain't do what I said. And Shemuel was angry. You know, it says, be angry, but sin not. Don't let the sun go down in your anger, right? So how fast you think Yahuwah getting ready to get rid of Saul? Because he can't let Shemuel, the anger, go down. He can't let the sun go down in his anger, right? So how fast you think Yahuwah going to get rid of Saul? Because if Shemuel be angry as the sun go down, then Satan gonna have an opportunity with Shemuel, and Yahuwah like, I can't have that. I can't allow that to happen. So guess what he gonna do? And he cried to Yahuwah all night, right? And he was crying all night. So it all happened at night, because that's when they attacked. But then you see Saul angry for the rest of the day. Right? And Shemuel rose to meet Shaul in the morning, right? So this happened at night when they did it. And then it's still the daytime. Shemuel still angry now. He was praying to Yahuwah. What I said, man, he angry, right? He hot. He mad. And it was told Shemuel, Saul came to Carmel, and behold, he set up a monument for himself, and turned and passed on and went down to Gilgal. Because you ain't do everything, you ain't destroy all the idols. You still kept some of them. I know you still kept that name too. You know how people keep the names, you kept that name, didn't you? You kept all the other stuff too that came with it. And you know what else you did? You built a monument for yourself. Man, look at me. Made a statue for your things. You be like, man, what are you doing? I thought you was of the lowest and the least of the tribes of the tribe of Benjamin. Now you all messed up. And he turned and passed on and went to Gilgal. And Shemuel came to Saul and said, Saul. And Shaul said to him, Barak be Yahuwah. Be Yahuwah. I told you you can still call on Yahuwah and not do everything he said. You still be evil though. I have performed the commandment of Yahuwah. He said, you ain't destroy him. Man, you ain't destroy that person. You be like, I don't care who you is. That's why Shaul said, if I yet please men, I will not be a servant of Yahushua Mashiach. I already know you're a hypocrite. He said, I already know you're a liar. He said, I already know you're a false, not be a false dreamer. He said, I already know. That's why he said, if I yet please men, I'm not going to be a servant of Yahushua Mashiach. And Shaul came to Saul and said to him, Barak be the name, be Yahuwah, be to you, Yahuwah. I have performed the commandment of Yahuwah. And Shemuel said, what then is this bleating of the sheep in my ears and the lowing of the oxen I hear? They ain't even supposed to be here. He's like, you ain't supposed to have no animals around here. Why are the animals here? They supposed to be dead. You know how it is. And the animals supposed to be dead. And Shaul said, they have brought them from the Amalekites, for the people spared the best of the sheep, of the oxen, to sacrifice to Yahuwah, your Elohim. And the oxen, it says, Yahuwah, your Elohim. And the rest we have devoted to destruction. And then Shemuel said to Saul, this is how people do with their life. This is how you do with your life. You spare the things in your life that's good, that you think is good, but in actuality ain't good with Yahuwah, and you got to get rid of it out of your life. And then you know what you don't do? You don't get rid of it. So then Yahuwah like, you ain't did everything I told you to do. And then you know what you do after that? You want to say, Barak be Yahuwah. And then you know what else you do? And the rest we have devoted to destruction. You only kill some of the stuff you have. You don't like putting your hand be first upon it. You ain't kill everything. I know you didn't. Then Shemuel said to Saul, that's why people still saying stuff out of their mouth after 8 years, 16 years, 10 years, 20 years. That's why people saying it, because you ain't get rid of it. Fully though. It was all a joke. Ha ha ha. You know how it is. You don't do it for a joke, but it was only for you to keep your idol in your heart, because you got to satisfy the demon that's inside of you of gossip, slander, hatred, jealousy, envy. So you set the person up so that they can look a certain way, so you can have something to talk about for the next 10, 15 years, and put a monument of yourself afterwards as if you're so great when you did it. And you didn't get rid of it. You didn't really fully get rid of the person. You just really just did it just so it could have something to talk about. So therefore, for the people spared the best of the sheep and the oxen to sacrifice to Yahuwah your Elohim, and the rest we have devoted to destruction. Then Shemuel said to Saul, stop. That's what you need to do. Stop. That's all you got to do. Stop doing it, please. Please stop. It was fun. It was a good time. You laughed. You joked. It was great. But that's your idol. That's your demon. You satisfying the demon that's inside of you, and it just loves to do it. That's all you're doing it for. You ain't doing it for no. You're doing it for your demon, and your messages are all of Satan. Because that's all you're doing it for. He said, stop. I will tell you what Yahuwah said to me this night. And he said to him, speak. And Shemuel said, see, I told you you can't let the sun go down your wrath. Now he said, man, I got to get this thing out of me tonight. Well, the morning, right? I got to get this thing before the sun goes down. And Shemuel said, though you are little in your own eyes. There you go. You thought you were small, the smallest of the tribe of Yasharal. Are you not the head of the tribes of Yasharal? Yahuwah anointed you king over Yasharal. And Yahuwah sent you on a mission and said, go, devote to destruction the sinners, the Amalekites, and fight against them until they are consumed. That's what you're supposed to do. You ain't do nothing he told you to do. You're supposed to fight against the sinners. But why do you think Yeshua said, if I yet please men, I'll not be the servant of Yahushua Mashiach? He said, don't say this to Malachi, it was a mistake, for he don't bear the sword in vain. And then what Shaul said? Because he gonna come with you with that sword. Because you a sinner. Because you deserve to die. For all the stuff you did. Why then did you not obey the voice of Yahuwah? Why did you pounce on the spoil and do what was evil in the sight of Yahuwah? But you made sure you got that donation though. But you ain't do nothing I told you to do. And Saul said to Shemuel, I have obeyed the voice of Yahuwah. See, in your mind, that's what a demon do. That's what Satan does. He take you from one Elohim, Yahuwah, and make you think there's other ones. I have gone on the mission on which Yahuwah sent me. You know, some people think they Shemuel. I'd be like, man, you ain't Shemuel. Shemuel's a virgin. Shemuel is a virgin. What do you mean? A virgin young man. Young. Matter of fact, Shemuel, when he was young, he said the voice came to him. He said, Shemuel, Shemuel. He didn't know who he was. But then when he recognized him, he realized who he was. He said, man, you like Saul. He said, you might want to switch that around. Because you know how people have these reverse psychology things? He said, that's what you call, you need to reverse that back to you. You need to reverse that back to you. Like send it back. You know how they do it on what they say? What they say? Dude can send it back. Send it back, right? That's what they do. I mean, talking about sorcery, but that's what they do. Maybe don't know how do mean thank you and mean yes. Send it back. I have gone on the mission with Yahuwah. I have brought Agag, the king of Amalekite, and I have devoted to destruction, and Amalekites to destruction. But the people took the spoil of the sheep and the oxen and the best of the things and devoted to destruction, to sacrifice to Yahuwah your Elohim in Gilgal. And Shemuel said, has Yahuwah great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices, as obeying the voice of Yahuwah? You know the sad part about people don't obeying the voice of Yahuwah? He said, does he have delight in that? You ain't even obey the voice of Yahuwah. Matter of fact, we had two Pesachs. You ain't do nothing. You ain't even trying to do nothing. Not even understanding that Yahuwah is still looking at you. He already know what you are. He's just giving you time and space. Right? That's all it is. Has Yahuwah great delight in burnt offering and sacrifice, as obeying the voice of Yahuwah? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to listen than the fat of rams. Right? You can kill all the animals you want. I assure you, them animals' families gonna come after you. You might get rammed in your neck one day. You might just see an animal and he'd be like, man, you know, Mr. Bear told me about you killed the ram over there, and you didn't obey the voice of Yahuwah though, right? It was an evil ram. You need to destroy it, right? Because they taught the ram how to do other stuff. They were doing bestiality with it. Imagine you people say, I want to sacrifice to Yahuwah, and these people, you know, these people doing bestiality and sleeping with animals, and they sleeping with them animals, and you gonna go say, you know what? Even though the animal had intercourse with a woman, and they did all this evil stuff, I'm finna go ahead and put it on there and offer it to Yahuwah. But that's how you know. He said, you a fool. Right? These are all things the nations do. And then you finna offer this to me. You are absolutely insane. So you saying that's what I did? I assure you, that ain't what I did. You might want to switch that around. Because who were the people who took the strange wives and bare children by them in the book of Ezra? Oh, you mean the leaders. I put you leader over Yasharal. But for some reason, you ain't do what I said. As obeying the voice of Yahuwah, behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to listen than the fat of rams. For rebellion is a sin of divination, and presumption or idolatry is as iniquity. and idolatry, right? Because you have rejected the word of Yahuwah, he has also rejected you from being Malak, king. Now you see why Yahushua was despised and rejected by men. Because of you. Because you didn't do what he said. But then Yahushua came and canceled it out. Isn't that something? He came and canceled it out. I forgive you. But you got to understand it in order to be forgiven. That's the only way you're going to understand. He said, search the scriptures, and then you think you have eternal life. It's talking about you. You would think that you were going to Sheol. But then he said, in order to cancel out your sin, you have to get the understanding of how I canceled out your sin according to Torah in order for you to get eternal life for the sin that you never thought you would get eternal life for. And if you don't get this understanding before you die, you're going to die with sin, because you ain't going to understand all the understandings to get rid of your sin. Understand? Because you have rejected the word of Yahuwah, and you rejected the word of Yahuwah, do you mean reject Yahushua Mashiach again? You will not be a kingdom of priests. It says we made us kings and priests to Yahuwah Elohim, Malak and Kahanim, and you can be Kudash. If you don't get the understanding of him and follow him everywhere he go and get the understanding, you're not going to be, even though you know a little bit about him, but if you don't get the understanding, cancel out your sin. And as Saul said to Shemuel, I have sinned. There it is. After he heard the word of Yahuwah. But it wasn't that he sinned. He ain't wanting like sin to be. He wasn't saying I sinned because he felt guilty. He said I have sinned because I lost the kingship. For I have transgressed the commandment of Yahuwah in your words, because I feared the people and obeyed their voice. That's the whole point. But then you start blaming the people. That's what people do. When they do wrong to people, they be blaming the people. It's your fault that this person did this. It's your fault that he left. It's your fault. No, it's you. You. Right? You know what I said? You. Now, therefore, please pardon my sin. And now you see how you get a pardon. You got to do it. And return with me that I may bow before Yahuwah. And Shemuel said to Saul, I will not return with you. I ain't going nowhere with you. You know what I said? For you have rejected the word of Yahuwah. That's how you is. I ain't going nowhere with you. You rejected the word of Yahuwah. And Yahuwah has rejected you from being king over Yasharal. And Shemuel turned to go away. And Shaul seized the skirt of his robe. Now you see why that woman grabbed the skirt of Yahushua's robe. If I just touch the hem of his fringes, I'm going to be healed. Now you see why he did that. She did that. He said, your Amunah has made you whole, Saul. Your Amunah has made you well. Because you humble yourself, even as that woman did. But being that you took too long, you didn't obey Yahuwah, a woman shall get your kabod. Isn't that what happened? Didn't that happen to Jair? He said a woman got your kabod. And guess what? And it tore, right? So Saul sees the skirt of his robe and it tore. Why do you think they tore Yahushua's garments? They cast lots for it. It tore. And Shemuel said to him, Yahuwah has torn the kingdom of Yasharal from you this day, and has given it to your neighbor, to a neighbor of yours who is better than you. Oh man, right? Who do you think that was? When they tore Yahushua's robe and they cast lots, who do you think that was? If you be the Malak of Yasharal, come down from the cross, we will believe in you. Who better than Saul? Yahushua Mashiach. Who better than you? Yahushua Mashiach. I will have you know that the head of every man is Yahushua Mashiach. He's better than me. Why would I say I'm better than him? That makes no sense. He's better than you. And also, the glory of Yasharal will not lie or have regret. For he is not a man that he should regret or lie. Because you know why he ain't a man that should lie? Because in the book of Revelation, he said that those who are blameless, he said a lie was not found in their mouth, because they were what? They were blameless, and they were virgins, and they followed Yahushua everywhere he went. And they said, worship Yahuwah, who made Shamayim and earth. Then he said, I have sinned. He said it twice. That's why Yahushua cried out twice in totality. Yet honor me now before the elders of my people and before Yasharal. Please don't embarrass me in front of everybody. Please don't humiliate me. Why do you think Yahushua was dumb before his shore? He was dumb, like a dumb lamb. In his humiliation, he opened not his mouth. But not Saul, though. Now you see why Yahushua was better than him. Please don't humiliate me. That's how people are. Please don't humiliate me in public. I don't want to be embarrassed to everybody. It's going to make me look bad. Even though I did all those things to him, I'm sorry I didn't do it. It was done in secret. But these are all the things that people do. I say you'll expose somebody in secret for other people's stuff, but your stuff you don't want nobody to know. But you want the other person to look bad. But that's what happens. Reproach those who reproach you, Yahuwah, it fell on me. That's what happens. You just got to bear people's sin when they do it to you. I have sinned, yet honor me now before the elders of my people, Yasharal, and before Yasharal, and return with me, that I may bow before Yahuwah, your Elohim. So Shemuel turned back from after Saul, and Saul bowed before Yahuwah. Then Shemuel said, bring here to me Agag, the king of Amalekites, and Agag came to him cheerfully. He spared me. You know how it is. See, that's what happens when you spare people. They start getting all cheerful for their sin. See, I'm so joyful and weary, and I made him look bad in front of people, but me, look how I am. Agag said, surely the bitterness of death is past. Now you see why Yahushua died. Why did Yahushua take the sour wine? It's past. Didn't that happen 45 days ago? He gave him the sour wine, he gave it the Ruach. See, even the Amalekite knew that. Well, he didn't know. He didn't even know what he was saying. The bitterness is past, and Shemuel said, as your sword has made children childless, women childless. Because they ain't got no husband. He killed all the males. So shall your mother be childless among women. He gonna kill you. And what Shemuel did? You know, I say, oh, Shemuel's so harmless. Yahuwah, my child, my loving child. But I assure you, when Yahushua come back here with his 144,000 and his judgment comes, I assure you, this is not going to be a good thing for you. And Shemuel hacked Agag into pieces before Yahuwah in Gilgal. Shemuel killed that man, because that's what Yahuwah said. He killed that man. See, that's what Shemuel killed him. Because you ain't want to do it. Because you want to hide and act like you bearing your hood. You want to do all these things and try to flip it around and try to put it on me. He said, you know what? I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do it. Just so I can bear your hood, right? He hacked that man. And then Shemuel went to Ramah. Amazing he did all this during the day. Because he said, don't let the sun go down your anger now. You know how it is. Don't let the sun go down your anger. I mean, you got to handle your business. He would handle his business. I ain't telling you to go kill nobody, but with the word of Yahuwah, you got to kill him with the sword. You got to tell him to the bar. Then Shemuel went to Ramah, and Saul went up to the house of Gibeah of Saul. And Shemuel did not see Shaul again until the day of his death. He's like, man, no, I don't want to see your face. Shemuel said, I don't want to see nobody. I don't want to see nobody. I don't want to see your face. Your face. I don't even want to see you. Because if I see you, it ain't going to be a good thing. That's literally what he just said. He said, I ain't see you, Saul, until the day of his death. Now you see why you don't need to be seeing nobody after they do stuff like that to you or to Yahuwah. And you reject the word of Yahuwah. I don't want to see you. I don't want to see nobody. He said, I don't want to see you. He said, even to the day of my death, right? But that's what he said. But Shemuel grieved over Saul. But even though Shemuel still grieved over Saul, though. And Yahuwah regretted that he had made Saul king over Yasharal. All that take place now. Right, Romans chapter 6, through 11. For to set your mind on the flesh is death. That's what happens. You lose everything. But to set your mind on the Ruach is shalom. For the mind that is set on the flesh is hostile to Yahuwah. Notice how somebody who is hostile, don't obey Yahuwah, creates grief and regret inside of somebody who do. Notice how somebody who don't obey the voice of Yahuwah and don't do what Yahuwah says creates grief inside and sorrow inside of somebody else in Shemuel, all the way to the day of his death. And he was like, how long, and we didn't read the part, how long will you weep for Saul? Right? For it does not submit to Yahuwah's law. Indeed, it cannot. Those who are of the flesh cannot please Yahuwah. Let me bow. I want to go back with you and bow to Yahuwah. Please, with among the elders, don't embarrass me, please. You, however, are not in the flesh, but of the Ruach. In fact, the Ruach of Yahuwah dwells in you. That's how you know the Ruach in you. How you know the Ruach was in Shemuel? Shemuel said, I got to fulfill this. I got to take you out. Anyone who does not have the Ruach of Mashiach does not belong to him. He's like, man, I don't even want you to be king and priest of the Chdsh nation. You see what happened? But if Mashiach, Yahusha, is in you, although the body is dead to sin, the Ruach of life because of righteousness. The Ruach is life because of righteousness. If the Ruach of him who raised up Yahusha from the dead dwells in you, he who raised Mashiach Yahusha from the dead will also give life to your mortal bodies through his Ruach who dwells in you. Just like our room, rise Yahuwah, let your enemies be scattered. Then when Mashiach said to the ark, if it's inside of you, you're going to rise from the grave, right? This is Aleph Yukanah 1, 1 John 2, 24 to 28. Let what you heard from the beginning abide in you. And what you heard from the beginning abides in you. Man, this I've been going on. I'm talking about. It don't even seem like it. Man, it's crazy. Abides in you, then you too will abide in the Son and in the Father. And this is the promise he has made to us, eternal life. I write these things about those who are trying to deceive you. But the anointing you receive from him abides in you. You have no need that anyone should teach you. But as his anointing teaches you about everything, and it's true and it's no lie, just as it has taught you, abide in him. Now you see what you got to do. People say, when you will say something, it's like, okay, I got to do it. I heard it. He said, why you did it? Because I heard it. And he said, I got to do it. And now, little children, abide in him, so that when he appears, you may have confidence and not shrink from him in shame at his coming. What happened to Shemuel when he came to Saul? He shrunk. I have sinned. I have sinned. Amalekite, I'm still alive, right? And all this foolishness, right? And you don't want to do that on Day of Judgment. Don't do it. Sirach 3, 17 to 23. My son, go on thy business in meekness, ain't new. So shall I be beloved of him that is approved. The greater thou art, the more humble thyself. That's why you got to stay humble. And thou shalt find favor before Yahuwah. Why? Because you're going to need to do what he said. Many are in high places of renown, Saul, but mystery is revealed unto the meek. He hacked him up in pieces. But then what did Yahusha do on Pesach? He said, take. This is my body, which is broken for you. Do this in remembrance of me. What did he do to the woman? The Levite do in the book of Judges when he came and got her and he threw her out to the people and they raped her all night. He cut her into pieces and he sent it out through all the 12 tribes of Yasharal. Take, this is my body which is broken for you. Do this in remembrance of me. As often as you do this, you remember my death and suffering till I come. You see what you do? You see how the evil y'all do? That's why I sent it through all the 12 tribes. Because y'all evil. These Levites, these priests, and all these people that came along. You ain't going to be no Qahalath, no king and priest of me. Saul, you fake Levite. That's why he said, had they known it, they wouldn't have did it. They wouldn't have crucified Yahushua Mashiach. Because guess what it says? Remember, what did that Levite do to that woman? He sent her out to those men willfully, right? Cast her away. But not even knowing, Yahushua said, he that delivered you to me, delivered me to you, has the greater sin. Even though she did all that evil. She said she was no. But even though she did it, he said, the person who threw her out had the greater sin. Out there to the men and let her rape them. Take, eat this, take, this is my body which is broken for you. Do this in remembrance of me. The person who sent out the email with all the different confessions and everything out to everybody got the greater sin. That's what he said. He said, you got the greater sin, for the person who delivered you over to me got the greater sin. Take, this is my body which is broken for you. Do this in remembrance of me. You remember my death and suffering till I come. That's why you do it. For the power of Yahuwah is great, honor with the lowly. Seek not out things that are too hard for thee, neither search for things that are above thy strength. But what is commanded thee, think thereupon with reverence, for it is not needful for thee to see with thine eyes that things are in secret. Be not curious in unnecessary matters, for more things are showed unto thee than men, women, and children understand. So look at all that. We look at Yahushua Mashiach. We look at the lot of life. Look at the shabath in the 364-day cycle. We look at the last day, even 5 days before the 40th day, before Yahushua was left the earth. Look at all the things that Yahushua Mashiach did and shown, teach and do through all for 40 days. But even as one understands it, one has to take heed and see all of the understandings that cancels out your sin. For your sins can't be canceled out till the understanding comes. So when the demon sees your Amunah grow in you, the demon is extinguished like a spark of fire, and it's gone. Because Amunah comes by hearing about Yahushua Mashiach. Where's your Amunah at? Or is your Amunah in earthly things? Because love cancels out all sins. He that seeketh love seeks to covers a multitude of sins. That's what it does. And those multitude of sins need to be covered in a hover. So look at everything that love is and everything that truth is. And love and truth lives on inside of us if one adheres to the bar and does what Yahuwah says. For we live in this world, we are not of it. For as long as we live in the world, we got to do what Yahuwah says. If you don't do what Yahuwah says, then he'll reject you from being king and Kahanim in the kingdom of priests. You want to be despised and rejected. You want to follow him everywhere he goes. And give heed, not give heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of demons, which cause you to lose your Amunah in the true Elohim and Yahushua Mashiach. For the meek shall inherit the earth. The Anu shall inherit the Eras.